Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Matt Canizaro live at the National Bowling Stadium. We are at the 2013 USBC Open Championships. This is the second half of today's live stream doubleheader. We're tuning in right now to see 2012 regular doubles and regular all events champ Matt McNiel try to continue his historic run here at the USBC Open Championships. He's averaging 250 over the last 3 years or so, and see if he can continue that success at the National Bowling Stadium tonight. This is the 10:30 doubles and singles squad, and they are underway with their 6 minutes of practice. We'll be back with you with 6 games of doubles and singles competition in just a few minutes.
That is cute.
Two minutes remain in practice. This is over. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to remind you, flash photography is not permitted during tournament competition. National Bowling Stadium, we're ready to begin the competition. Bowlers, when the arrows are up next to your name, you can begin your competition. Good luck and have a great time.
All right, folks, we are getting underway here at the National Bowling Stadium. Title defense number 2 for 3-time champion Matt McNiel. He's about to step up on the left lane with his first shot of doubles here in 2013. Last year, McNiel made history. He rolled an 847 series in doubles to become the first bowler in tournament history with 3 800s on the championship lanes. And he leaves a 3-pin on his first shot here in 2013. McNiel has been a bit of a live stream wonder in recent years. After his record-setting win in 2010, he was on the live stream broadcast in 2011. Rolled a 300 game and 822 series on his way to a 3rd place all events finish. And last year, as we mentioned, 300 and 847 on the live stream. We'll see what Mr. McNiel has in store for us here in 2013. 2 titles on the line, regular doubles with Charles Vashaw, who you saw on the right lane there just 1 second ago. And of course, the regular all events title, his second in 3 years, almost 3 in a row. 3rd place finish in 2011. So we'll let Mr. McNiel get settled in, and we will settle in for the next few hours, the second half of this live stream doubleheader. Stay tuned. All right, so a little bit of a slow start for Matt McNiel here in game number 1 of doubles. Last night, 6-12 in the team event, so it's going to be an uphill climb for a second consecutive regular all-events title and a third in 4 years. 22-28, the all-events number he's chasing right now. And in doubles, 14-03. We have a tie in the top spot. And these guys last year, Vashaw and McNiel, shot 14-89 on the way to the title. It's going to take some great breaks and some really good shots along the way to get there. And we will see as things unfold. McNiel, 9 spare, left a 3-pin on the left lane in frame number 1, 5-3 in frame 2. So we'll see if he can get back on track with his first strike here in doubles in 2013. Good break there, gets the 6 out, leaves just the 7. But a little perplexed by that shot. So both left-handers looking at 7 pins right now. Miscue for Vashaw. McNiel will take a shot at his, and these guys will need to have a quick conference and regroup for a second and get things going. 1,400, a difficult number for sure here. Obviously this year, 2 teams have gotten there. A lot of close calls. See if these guys can get back on top. Aaron Smith, haven't seen you all day. What have you been up to?
Hey Matt, how's it going? It's been a busy day. Obviously, everybody just tuned in to watch T.O. Got the chance to talk to him a little bit afterwards, and yeah, we just had all kind of things going on here at the National Bowling Stadium. Earlier today, we had a new classified team leader take the top spot. Now we have even more excitement as we're watching. I guess we're in part 2 or 3 of our live stream bonanza here, for the short version at least. Watching Matt McNiel, Charles Vashaw put up their regular doubles title, and the very talented Lynn's Lakers 1 group put up a 34-36 yesterday to move into 8th in regular team. Again goes through the nose on lane 16. Left the Greek Church in his first effort in the second frame.
All right, Smith, we're getting settled in. It's going to be a long lot of hours coming up here. It's as you mentioned, it's already been an exciting 5 or 6 since you've been in the building.
There's plenty of time to sleep in July, Matt.
Well, I'll tell you who's probably not sleeping right now. It's our current doubles leaders. Again, we have a double tie there on top, Aaron. You can run down those names real quick. I bet you.
A few of those folks might be tuned in right now. At the top with a 14-03 tie, Joe Conti Jr. and Derek Magno out of New York. as well as 2008 regular team champions Chris Green and Joe Keltner out of Wichita, Kansas. Currently up at the top spot. Sitting in third just about a week ago, Tony Renaud out of Harwington, Connecticut, and Glenn Hood out of Ellington, Connecticut put up 13.99. They actually had a chance stepping up in the 10th frame to, they both would have doubled in decent comp. They would have got there, and Hood got the first one before a 2:10, I believe, slowed them down, but still a great effort. It's sitting in fourth. Green and Keltner's teammates, Russ Wilson and Jay Futrell, 13.96. And rounding out the top five, Betty Hafes out of Mobile, Alabama, and our 2012 regular singles champion, Henry Teets III of West Ellis, Wisconsin, 13.92. So certainly got some big names up there in the top five.
Well, there's a first strike for McNiel here in doubles in 2013. Again, he struggled a little bit, at least by his standards, last night in the team event, shot 6-12. For most of the bowlers here, of course, that would be a solid performance. But McNiel has been putting up some pretty unbelievable numbers over the past couple of years, going back to 2010, his breakout performance.
Yeah, he's been hard to stop these past few years, and he almost looked human for a second last night. Got a chance to talk to him a little bit after, and a little bit today. He said one of the biggest things for him, he didn't feel he was tournament ready. He's been practicing and getting loose, but he hasn't been in any actual competition since the USBC Masters.
Well, I'll tell you what, Aaron, I had the same conversation with him last year in Baton Rouge. He came out, a day early, and then, of course, he spent some time with us on the live stream broadcast minutes before going out for doubles and singles. And really, he just said, it's the same thing. He wasn't ready. He didn't feel it. He actually left his team at their team dinner and went to a local bowling center to bowl a few games to try to get comfortable. And obviously that worked because he shot 2,200 with a 560 finish in singles. So 790 and then 847. And if that's not feeling good, I don't know what is. But I hope I feel that bad when it's my turn to get out there. But this year, the number's a little bit different on the scoreboard, only 612, and struggling here early in doubles. So we'll see if he can get settled in. We kind of joked earlier when he was on the broadcast with us that, last year it was 790, 840, 560. The year before, kind of similar. Struggled a little bit in singles. So this year, why not just go backwards? Started with 612, and why not follow that up with 790, 800, and
exactly.
Get right back there. Just take a different route to the same location.
Yeah, we joked around a little bit before the squad. He says he's already 50 pins ahead of last year's single pace, so yeah, why not?
Well, McNiel is the 2, 3, 4, and 5-year average leader here at the Open Championships. The last 3 years, 250.7 on the tournament lanes. Again, 2010, his breakout performance, 23-26, took home the all events title with a record total. Came back and almost did it again in 2011. Finished third, 22-41, and claimed that title once again in 2012, 22-02. So 2,200, kind of the number. I know in talking to him last week, he would be perfectly happy, just given the circumstances in this year's situation, with 2,000, 2.5 out there. He's been here every single day since the Open Championship started. Downstairs coaching on the 900 Global Showcase lanes. He is the featured coach at USBC Silver Level. So he's been busy helping other bowlers find some success here at the Open Championship. There's a big double for the left-hander. So normally, where these guys come from in Wisconsin, Minnesota and Wisconsin, bowling's what they do, especially in the winter. They travel around as a group. They have a lot of team tournaments that they go to, whether it be city, state. I know before he came out here, he did some Baker tournaments, but that's their chance to bowl together, get together, get comfortable, and they know each other's games so well by this point. But it's just a matter of gelling together, getting some games in, and getting in that atmosphere. And he hasn't had that opportunity this year. He's been here by himself. He did say that he had the chance to talk them through a lot of things, a lot of different ideas and changes, and lay out some balls. And so he used his time here to help the team, whereas at the same time, maybe it took a little bit of his personal focus away from his own performance and his own preparation. And maybe that's what we're seeing out here. But again, too, he said he missed some simple spares, missed a 6-pin. And that's the one thing that he teaches everybody, you know, the importance of making spares on these challenging conditions. And I'm sure that kind of matches some of the things that he talked to you about.
Absolutely. He mentioned a few spares last night that he honestly said he didn't remember the last time he missed them. So certainly an uncharacteristic performance out of him last night, but he still put together a 6-12 effort to help his team into 8th place. And they're about 100 pins off of Lodge Lane's 2 score, their record score of 35-38. So certainly it was probably in the back of his head a little bit, thinking what it could have been if he would have put together the effort we've seen him the past 2 years. But he said he was feeling much better today. He's got to kind of sleep off what happened yesterday and sounded excited, sounded ready to go. We'll see if he can put together a 3-bagger here in the middle of game number 1.
Well, Aaron, certainly this is an exciting doubleheader. It's I don't want to say unprecedented because it was a doubleheader last year where we had the opportunity to see some magic out of McNiel, but we saw Terrell Owens, former NFL star, make his Open Championships debut, and he got off to a good start with 185 and finished with 475. Not too shabby for the bells and whistles and all the things going on here at the Open Championships. Those guys will take the lanes tomorrow for doubles and singles at 11 a.m. That is Terrell Owens, PBA Commissioner Tom Clark, and the voices behind the mics at PBA Extra Frame, Jason Thomas and Mike Jakubowski, and then tournament champion, the 1985 booster team, Ed Bauer, and Bowler's Journal publisher Keith Hamilton. So a nice group, very supportive of our event and our sport. So good to see them out here. Great that they were able to bring T.O. out to enjoy the Open Championships experience. Now he can say that he's played in the Super Bowl and in the world's largest participatory sporting event. And how about that?
Not too many folks can say that, Matt. McNiel cleans up the 7-pin. If the messenger thought about knocking it down. Said he's starting off with the AMF King Cobra for all of you wondering at home. Looks like he's still using that up to this point. He just
King Cobra. There's a throwback.
I think they're making new ones. Apparently retro.
Retro is cool.
Retro is cool. He also just kind of looked at us and said that was his first good shot of the night. So he's smiling. Him and Charles are joking a little bit right now. So certainly loose right now.
Well, and for these guys, you know, great friends on and off the lanes, and that's key to their whole operation, and something that McNiel certainly looked up to and grew up to in his days in Minnesota. He's the youngster of the group, of course. Spent a lot of time watching these guys compete, understands what this event's all about. Todd Savoy goes way back at this event. He's got 6 titles. He's a USBC Hall of Famer, so a lot of history and talent in this group. They teamed up minus McNiel and Voigtlander in 2002 and 2006 for the Team All Events titles. They bowled at 11:30 p.m. Back in 2006. They bowled at 11:30 p.m. last year. So a little bit of superstition again, bowling the final squad of the day. But this is something that McNiel strived for as he was growing up, learning his ways in the pro shop and on the lanes. And, you know, he wanted to be part of this group, and he joined another group from Minnesota, the Lynn's Cedarvale, back in 2010. His buddies Scott Pohl, Carl Fitek, also mentors for him, and it wasn't long before he earned his way, you know, into this role, and he's certainly a key to this team, you know, and he's proven himself. He did last year in the team event 790, and of course the big doubles run. So he's now comfortably part of this group and now comfortable on the lanes here in 2013. So he said his first good shot of the night came in the 7th frame. He left the 7-pin, and he liked that one off his hand as well. So we're seeing the light side of Matt McNiel, and I say here come the strikes.
Well, let's hope so, Matt. This is bound and determined to be an exciting evening. And yeah, a few X's up on the scoreboard would certainly help.
Well, we do appreciate everybody joining us. It certainly is late on the East Coast, 11 p.m. here in Reno. So 2 a.m. there on the East Coast, and almost 500 strong watching the second half of this doubleheader. So we do appreciate that. We'll be here all through doubles and singles as the night progresses. This is just game 1 of 6, and really we're just we're here. We're here for the long haul, and then at 11 a.m. our time, 12 hours from now, we're headed over to the Women's Championships for the first broadcast of the year from that event. So very exciting couple of days coming up here in Reno.
It's only 12 hours away?
Only 12 hours away. So we have some time, some stories to put up on Bull.com, some news to spread to the world. Matt McNiel looking for back-to-back titles. All right, so our next broadcast, again, as we said, will be 11 a.m. over at the Women's Championships. This is the first year in history, both events being held in the same host city in the same year. So we're looking forward to that, getting over there, showing off that venue. 44 lanes installed inside the Reno Sparks Convention Center. Hasn't been done since 1990, the last time the Open Championships was held over there. That was 5 years prior to the opening of the National Bowling Stadium. And we've had a great home here in Reno. Looking forward to many more years. And I'm sure Matt McNiel is looking forward to many more years here as well, throwing shots like that. He feels very comfortable inside this building, and he should, especially now having spent the last 65 or so days here as an employee teaching other bowlers how to enjoy the Open Championships experience. So we are glad to be here as well. A lot of great bowlers on this squad. We're looking just a few lanes away. Bugsy Kelly, brand manager for Columbia 300. Matt Kabansky, a very talented bowler from Texas. Eric Martinez from the San Antonio area. So we'll keep an eye on those guys. RJ Clan had a pretty fantastic night last night in the team event. So good thing those guys are within eye shot. We've got our Fox News Ryan Kearns here as well, checking out the action. He's been following McNeil's story a little bit as he's been preparing for this title defense.
And I think that piece is due to air. What's today? Today's Wednesday still, right?
Still Wednesday.
Days run together.
It's actually early Thursday, but yes, he's planning to have that on the air on Thursday. So looking forward to seeing that come together as well.
If anyone in the Reno area is tuning into Fox News tomorrow, be sure to check out the McNiel piece. Should be a good one.
Well, Aaron, a very big number these guys are chasing, and with every day that passes here at the Open Championships this year, that number's looking better and better. Do I think it's going to win? I don't think so. I think somebody's going to come out with a pretty huge set, but 14:03. It's been on top for a while. It's been tied and it's been challenged, but it's held on. And part of the reason there is the new format this year at the Open Championships. Fresh oil for every squad. So there's no more burn. There's no more broken down pairs. It's all fresh for everybody across the board, and so we're seeing the scores a little bit down. You get 6 minutes of practice, 6 on a pair this year instead of 4. So you guys get to break them down a little bit in practice, but potentially sacrificing part of game number 1. Settling in, and so because of that, double scores down a little bit.
Yeah, we've seen a few folks make a decent run at the that 14:03 number, but I believe our last last live stream before this, Rob Gottschall and Adam Barta came firing out of the gates. Put together scores of 485 and 482, beating just 430. And this has been kind of the common theme. Folks starting off strong in doubles, and then the third game transition just catching up to them and causing a little trouble. So we'll see where these guys go. Sam Lanto finishes up with a 199. Doubles partner Todd Savoy, 208. Volklander is finishing up his 10th frame right now at 16.
Well, Aaron, we've talked about it. I talked about it with actually with Eric Martinez and those guys a little bit. The game three blues, I guess we could call it. Again, you know, a lot of folks getting close, having really big games through two, and then battling that transition and falling short. And whatever team makes the right move, and you know, we talked to some of the right-handers, you know, Brian Walczek and those guys the other day, and you know, there comes a point where you see it happening, and you know, maybe you have to be brave, make a big move at that point, and it will pay off, or it absolutely won't. But making the little moves, you know, doesn't seem to be the way to go, at least in doubles. And then, of course, things kind of open up heading into singles. We saw with John Drabinski, our all events and singles leader, they struggled in doubles and came back with huge sets in singles. So, you know, if there's a magic trick or a simple answer, obviously the scores would be a lot higher. But it's the guys who figure out that move or are the bravest who are going to get it done.
Charles Vashaw, 183 with the final 3 strikes. We'll see if Matt McNiel can match him here.
Well, these guys also have to have their sights set a little bit on team all events. I know it's early, but they got off to such a fantastic start last night in the team event, 34-36, the 10th 3400 of the year, and they've been there before. They have team all events titles in 2002 and 2006. They had the lead number of times since, and you know, they can get there, and they know it, and they know how to do it, and it's just a matter of they're going to need the big games. 10,247, the number on top. That is a monster. Junior Team USA Support 1, led by some former Team USA members, Eric Vermillion, Jeffrey Mersch, collegiate standouts Matthew Tuckfield, PBA champion Anthony Lacaze, and collegiate All-American Steve Novak. So those youngsters certainly got it done here. They put up a big number that also has been challenged, but a few teams have fallen short in the final frames. It's a marathon for sure, and you know, every pin counts. One team, you know, missed by the Hogswogglers. Is that what it is? They Hornswogglers missed by 43 pins. You know, and over the marathon, 45 games. That's 1 pin a game. You know, and you know, looking at Todd Savoy there in the 10th, 6 out in the 10th. Volklander, 5 count in the 10th. Sam Lanto, 5 count, you know, on the fill ball. So there's a number of pins right there, and you do that a couple times, and that could be the difference. Of course, you know, we know premium shot making, the challenging conditions here at the Open Championships. These guys know exactly what they're doing. McNiel, you know, alluded to it earlier. You got to make your spares, especially the single pins, and you got to get your count. He's talked about it with us countless times on the live streams. So we'll see if these guys can get settled in here in game 2. So it's 206 for McNiel and his title chase, and they'll need some breaks. And there's a break that isn't quite a break. We're gonna respot that 4-pin for Savoy. If that rack was just a little bit slower, it would have started this game off with a strike, so we'll let them reset that. So McNiel 206. Charles Vashaw, the quiet guy of the group, 183. Last year, Vashaw offered up a 642 series in the doubles effort. McNiel, of course, 847 for a 1489 total.
It's kind of a lot.
That is a bunch. And last year, almost 12,000 teams. So certainly not a down year by any means. That's a fantastic turnout. We were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for the second time. A great venue, 48 lanes in the Baton Rouge River Center. The introduction of the showcase lanes came last year. So an all-around great tournament and a fantastic one for McNiel. Took home 2 titles. So he's 27 years old. He's headed off to college in the fall.
That is true.
That's something you would traditionally say of an 18 or 19-year-old. But McNiel headed to Wichita State University, and he'll be the only collegiate bowler with 3 Eagles. So it's got to be kind of cool to go in there and have that kind of experience and to bring that to such a talented and storied program. Looking forward to seeing what he can offer to them.
Absolutely, especially after a rough year for the Wichita State men's team, not making it to the ITCs. So McNiel will certainly be a nice addition as he goes up to start game 2. Matt, you were talking about the team all events number a little bit earlier. Some unofficial math. 68-11 is the score the Linz Lakers ones are looking to accumulate. That would help them reach the number set by junior Team USA Support 1. So that 68-11 clip would require a little bit more than 227 a guy. So definitely below pace the first game, but they're starting strong.
Aaron, when you've had the kind of success this group has had, I'm not sure if that adds more pressure or takes some of the pressure off. If you can go out there and relax, knowing that you've already been there. But you can go out there a little bit relaxed, or or more pressure to repeat. I don't know. Hard to say.
I think if all these guys just had claimed their first title, it would be different, but having been through the experiences of all this, I think they're, and it seems like they're relaxed, they're having a good time. Obviously, the first game wasn't the highest total they would have liked, but as far as double scores, but it seems like a very easygoing bunch. Charles Vashaw stepping up. Can't quite get the 6 minute out.
All right, so McNiel back on track here with a double in game number 2. All right, so Aaron, we just we had the first benefit to the new feature on YouTube. You can go back while it's live and you can watch what's already happened. And there was some question about Todd Savoy's 4-pin in the first frame, and we got the not so instant replay, and everybody is now comfortable with the decision that that the machine in fact did knock down the 4-pin, and now we are right where we should be, and again. We've talked about the first game situation here in doubles. Going out there for the fresh 39-foot lane condition, working together as a team, just like in the team event, and breaking them down, maybe sacrificing a little bit of time there at the beginning to open them up for the long haul. And these guys now clearly getting comfortable and settled in. A lot of strikes on the board, all part of the strategy, I'm sure. Did you get a chance to talk to them much at all about what the plan was coming in after last night?
Matt, I didn't get the chance to talk to them earlier before. Run around so much with Terrell Owens and a few of the other things today, but I guess I did get a chance to talk to Mr. McNiel a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, he seemed relaxed, seemed ready to come out here, kind of had shaken off what had happened yesterday and was ready to do what he knows and we know he's capable of. And we're seeing that right now. He's got the first 3 strikes to kick off the game 2 of doubles, so who knows where this will lead.
Here we've got a nice crowd joining us in the chat room tonight. We do appreciate everybody being here. This is part 2 of our live stream doubleheader from the USBC Open Championships. Right now we're watching defending doubles champions Matt McNiel and Charles Vashaw trying to go for 2 in a row here. And he got off to a little bit of a rocky start, 206, 183.
389 number leaves them 1,014 pins away from the RA tied 1403 leading. So in search for a few 500s here. Not series like I have, but games. Matt Kabinski getting off to a strong start in doubles, 245 the first game. He's got the front 4 to start this game. RJ Clan 173. He's clean through 4. They're bowling on 27 and 8.
There's a look at Luke Voigtlander. He shot 300 on our live stream broadcast a couple of years back, right here at the National Bowling Stadium. So we know he can throw the big shots when the lights are on as well. Very accomplished group here.
It did seem like the announcements yesterday took for about 24 minutes to get through all of them that they have here, so we may have started a little bit late.
Here's McNiel working on the first three, looking to make it 4 in a row. We've seen him shoot 300 twice on the live stream. And we're not going to see one here in game number 2, but they call him Matty McHonorscore. Had a 290 game back in 2007. Made the top 10 in singles at 1.780, 782 was the number. Came back in 2010. Of course, that record year included a 299 game, 806 series in singles. 2011, 300, 822 in doubles. 2012, 300, 847 in doubles. So the only bowler in tournament history with 3 800 sets on the championship lanes. Also has 3 eagles to go with him.
Seems fitting.
We've got another champion joining us in the chat room. 2009 regular doubles champ Stephen Padilla. Teamed with his wife now, Brenda. 1566, the highest doubles total in tournament history in Las Vegas. So now they have a nice banner at their house, recognizing not only that championship, but also the record. So Stephen, thanks for joining us. I know it's just a few weeks away. You guys will be back on the lanes. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Stephen, part of the USBC coaching program down there in Arlington, Texas at the International Bowling Campus. He actually had a role in training McNiel and helping him to his USBC silver status so he could be the featured coach here on the 900 Global Showcase lane. So the bowling world, awfully small, and now they share a place in history in the doubles record book as well.
How about that? Speaking of doubles, we also, earlier today, while T.O. was bowling, 2010 regular doubles champions John Cryer Jr. and Steve Bone hit the lanes. Both teams put up a pretty solid effort. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but
I believe there was a 33.98 and a high 32. So those guys always perform, especially here at the National Bowling Stadium. So we're just surrounded by great bowlers and great bowling people. We talked on the earlier broadcast about the USBC convention being in town. So about 1,000 delegates, I believe, was the number, and many industry folks in town to be a part of that. And some great champions. We saw Bill Spigner in the building earlier, USBC Hall of Famer, record holder here at the Open Championships. Big Hall of Fame induction ceremony happening tomorrow night. You can watch that here live on Bowl TV as well. So pretty much anytime you turn on Bowl TV in the next 4 or 5 days, you're going to see some live action from Reno, whether it's here at the Open Championships, over at the USBC Women's Championships, or the convention, or the Hall of Fame dinner. There's something for everybody, so definitely tune in. And if you want to check out that schedule, you can visit bowl.com/livestream, or just go to the bowl.com main page, and it's on the right side of your screen to see the live stream schedule. So check that out and be sure to join us.
yeah, we are trekking over Reno through May 4th. Then we get to take a little break, but not really.
So Aaron, there's a question in the chat room. Does McNiel have to shoot an honor score every year to keep his nickname? And I think when you have as many as he has here at the Open Championships, I think it sticks. I think he's earned it. Until somebody shoots 4 3 or 4 800s, I'm saying we let him have it. But we got a long way to go here. Obviously, this is just game 2, so maybe there's some fireworks on the way.
Yeah, I think that's the nickname. Once you earn it, you can't, it's not going anywhere, so.
Well, he's only 27, and he's only got 5 tournament appearances, or 6. This will make number 7. So the announcements for him already pretty significant, and again, is a very accomplished team. Of course, right now you're looking at Charles Vashaw on the right lane. It's his 28th tournament. Of course, he's got the 3 titles, 2 team all events, and doubles last year. Sam Lanto now stepping up on the right. He also has those 2 Team All-Events titles at 300 in doubles in 2004. Team USA member back in the early 1990s and an international gold medalist. John East up on the left lane, making his 39th tournament appearance. He's been at this weight longer than McNiel's even been alive. He's got the 2 Team All-Events titles and a 300 in doubles back in 1993.
Ice is striking this game as well. 2 3-baggers with a 8 spare sandwiched in there for a 2:01 start.
Todd Savoy, the most accomplished of the group, USBC Hall of Fame in 2005. 6 titles here at the Open Championships. Team in 84, Team All-Events in 84, Team All-Events 85, Team in 88, and of course, Team All-Events in 02 and 06. So 6 titles. Also an international gold medalist, and this is his 31st appearance. He's tops on the 30-year average list here at the Open Championships, 214.9. So these guys are very accomplished, both here and in the state of Minnesota. Superior, Wisconsin, just over the border for Savoy. We will have the recaps of today's festivities on bowl.com later tonight before we get ready to head over to the convention center for USBC Hall of Famers Leanne Holstenberg and Kim Terrell Kearney. So this action continues. Let's see if McNiel's strikes can continue. A lot of strikes on the board now as things unfold here in doubles. Looking for 3 in a row. Gets that one a little bit left. Leaves just the 3. Looks like McNiel's going with a little bit less surface here than he has in past years. And this pattern, not too different from last year in Baton Rouge, 39 feet. And of course, challenging as always, but if you do want to warm up or get a look at the pattern, and Matt said he did this earlier today, bowl at the Bowlers Journal Championships. So Storm Bowlers Journal Championships right next door, lane 69 through 78 here at the National Bowling Stadium. Puts out this exact lane condition. So an opportunity to get a look at it and potentially win some prize money. He said he shot 700 there today. Felt pretty good with his look, and I'm sure that determined the strategy for tonight. So that'll be a casher for sure over there, and a good tune-up for over here as things progress. And just to our right, USBC Hall of Famer Jeff Riggles, fresh off the airplane here for the Hall of Fame ceremonies, talking to Lyle Zykes, son of Hall of Famer Les Zykes. Still a pretty packed house for the 10:30 squad. It's already 11:30 here. What we call the middle of the night in some places almost. But bowling almost around the clock here in Reno.
Never hurts to be in good company as well.
So, Aaron, we have some big incentives for folks who want to bowl at 10:30 next year. 2014 registration already underway. Got to get your entry and your monies in soon. Get your times and dates locked in before they fill up. Get all the good times, but some of the incentives include.
Oh, it's my turn now. If you are all signed up and paid for by July 1st and decide to go with the 10:30 squad, for starters, there's a great shot by McNiel as he's up to 10 good shots. But if you're paid in full by July 1st and sign up for the 10:30 doubles and singles, you'll not only receive $20 in championships cash, which you can use on just about anything over here, brackets, BBE, sports store, pretty much anything. And on top of that, you also get a $55 rebate, essentially bowling singles or doubles and singles for free, excuse me. So that's a $75 value if you sign up by July 1st and decide to hang out with us at night here.
So some folks in the chat room mentioned some offensive language in the crowd earlier. We do apologize for that. We've addressed the rowdy audience members, and again, we do apologize, but let's get back to the action here. Todd Savoy going to step up on the left lane, USBC Hall of Famer, and of course our defending doubles champ, Charles Vashaw, up on the right with a great shot there for a double.
Savoy also responds with a strike. So we kick off the 9th frame here. Nice shot by Volklander there on lane 16, and that's 5 strikes in a row for him after a tough 165 start.
Aaron, this is a little bit of a marathon. There's 6 games on 1 pair of lanes. So we'll see how this works out for the left-handers.
That's true. We really haven't had many opportunities to see multiple lefties on the same pair for doubles and singles here. So nice shot there by McNiel. 7th in stands.
Seven pin, no problem for McNiel. He's clean through 9 frames here in game 2.
Still has 2 30s out there. Charles Vashaw will be in the 180s, so we may see this title defense for doubles at least come to a close quickly here. To our right, Bugsy Kelly matching 212 games. Matt Kabinski after a 245 start has 257 as he steps up for his 10th frame. Chance at 257. Eric Martinez 215. Looking to get into the 190s.
Well, this 39-foot doubles and singles pattern proving to be a little bit more difficult here. We got a small squad. Lanes, looks like lane 5 to 35.
Boy picks up the ever popular 1-8. Lanto used his attempt at the 4-pin to get lined up for next game. 194 for Sam.
So Aaron, we are surrounded by Hall of Famers, USBC employees, delegates, you name it. This is the place to be if you're a bowler. Reno, Nevada. This might even be more exciting than Bowl Expo, I'm not sure. The scoreboards do look a lot better with all these strikes on them. I'm sure these guys are happy as well. The march continues towards team all events. Oaklander is going to be in the 240s here.
Bounced back nice after an early 7-10 in game number 2 here. It's 246 for Luke Oaklander. John East cleans up the 7-pin. He'll be in the 230s.
So Aaron, there's a question in the chat room real quick about how we select who we're going to feature here on Bowl TV. And guys, it's a lengthy deliberation process. We come up with a pretty lengthy list of people we'd like to see on the live stream, potentially entertaining or past champions, Hall of Famers, defending champions, just flat out good bowlers. And you know, we take that list and we kind of whittle it down. You know, we look in the system, see who's coming when, and we put some dates to the names, and we try to fill up a pretty solid schedule from start to finish of who we'd like to see. And now it's a mix between the Open and Women's Championships being in the same city, of course. And we get in the room, we deliberate who we'd like to see, cross them off one by one, and come up with about 24. And that's how we select. So it's not that we set up and we have a featured pair like we would at a collegiate event or at the Queens or the Masters, and you know, they don't come to our pair. We go where they are, and we set up our setup, you know, wherever they're going to be. It's completely random as far as the lane assignments, and we follow them each time. So we selected these guys back in February to be on our live stream, of course, as the defending champions this year. And here they are, and here we are behind them. So that is how that works.
And of course, we also have to work around our other live streaming schedule as well. Not too long ago, Lucas Wiseman was coming to you live from Lincoln, Nebraska with the ISCs and ITCs.
Mr. Wiseman, a globetrotter, and we try to bring you all the action from all of our great USBC events. Again, the live stream schedule is available on bowl.com. Go to bowl.com/livestream or check out the schedule on the right side of the bowl.com main page. And again, we try to mix it up as far as the type of players we like to show. And in about 11 hours, we'll be over at the Women's Championships with our first broadcast over there. Leanne Holstenberg and Kim Terrell-Kearney, two familiar names, USBC Hall of Famers. But right now, it's all about the defending champs, Charles and Matt. They are 8-14 after 2 games. It's still out there.
It still is.
Still is. Well, it'll take
Take a lot of strikes, though.
a lot of strikes. Yeah, they both need basically 300 to get there. 300 and 289. Get him a tie.
And the Lynn Lakers one's run at team all events, much improved. Game 1 to Game 2. In Game 1, they totaled them 979. And that team, of course, is John East, Sam Lanto, Luke Volklander, Matt McNiel, and Todd Savoy. 979 game number 1 of doubles, 1127 game number 2. So once again, as a collective group today, they have to average a little over 227 to reach that 10,247 number.
Well, Aaron, I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it in this building. They really came through with some big shots their last couple times here. Obviously, based on the fact that every one of them has at least 2 eagles, they know how to get it done. So we'll see how things open up and develop. I know that's cliche.
We're the king of cliches, Matt. So.
Here's McNiel getting ready to start off game number 3. 206, 237. So a solid effort. 2,200, a significant long shot, but looking more comfortable with each shot. Gets the 6-pin to go there. You got to get a few breaks along the way, of course.
Absolutely. A few more trip 6s wouldn't hurt throughout the day. Well, I'm not sure if that added to his tally of good shots for the day. I think we're currently at 13, according to Mr. McNiel. To our right, Matt Kavinsky finishes up game number 2 with 246. He's at 491 through 2. Yeah, yesterday's team squad had a certain feel to it, with just everybody in the building, even though it wasn't one of the biggest squads we've had all year, with just the talent that was on the lanes and everybody being in the building and kind of waiting to see what happened. It was really something else. It was you're kind of just waiting for something to happen, and unfortunately nothing did, but a few good runs, a few solid scores. We saw Jason Price out of Nebraska put up a nice 750 series, along with the Linz Lakers, posting the 10th 3,400 series of the 2013 event.
All right, Aaron, so it's not going to be a repeat title here for Vashaw, as they're saying in the chat room, Vashaw and McNiel. But still, a big number out there. Looking for a respectable and solid performance. No doubt we'll get that.
Charles has had a rough time putting up doubles today. Outside the 10th frame, I believe he struck out both 10th frames so far, but unfortunately that's only led to 183 and 188 up to this point. McNiel doubles to start game number 3.
So those of you just tuning in, game 3 of doubles, Matt McNiel and Charles Vashaw came in as the defending regular doubles champs here to the 2013 USBC Open Championships. We are behind lanes 15 and 16 at the National Bowling Stadium. Game 3 of 6. So looking forward to another couple of hours.
Sam Lanto makes a run at the 6-7-10.
We'll do some microphone shifting here. We do have the bonus mic, so we'll see if we can get that set up. Maybe Regals wants to come on and chat with us for a few minutes about what's going on here.
Sounds like a plan.
And I believe we've actually met the most dedicated news guy ever, Ryan Kearns from Fox here in Reno. He spent more time here at the National Bowling Stadium almost than we have today. He was here for Terrell Owens' Open Championships debut earlier today, and he's been doing his Matt McNiel story for quite some time. And he's still here watching the action here at the MBS. So, Ryan, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to seeing that story. All right, back to the action. Big shot there from McNiel. Starts game 3 with 3 in a row as well. All right, so Aaron Smith, USBC Hall of Famer Jeff Regals is going to join us here. It's like giggles, but with an R.
That's exactly what I tell people.
So 5-time champion here at the USBC Open Championships, and in town for the USBC Hall of Fame induction ceremony tomorrow night. And no doubt taking some notes on Lynn's Lakers and what they're doing out there. Jeff, welcome.
Hey, it's great to be here, Matt, Aaron. I got as quick as I could as soon as I landed. We landed a couple minutes early, walked out, got my luggage, and Dave and Dan Langer were sitting there. You're going to webcast them Friday night with Chad Nelson, Dan Bach's group. And they said, hey, I went out to get the Silver Legacy shuttle because that's where I'm staying. And they go, hey, you need a ride? I said, well, I was going to get the shuttle. He goes, oh, no, come on. Limo from the El Dorado. Okay. Oh, we just stay there a lot. Those guys fire. They don't send you that limo unless you fire. So I got over quick, checked in, came over, and I think I got here right at the start of the second game. The one question I want to know, did these guys throw plastic up the middle in practice?
I don't believe we saw that out there, Jeff. Seemed like they were trying to...
or were they playing with surface outside?
Seemed like they were trying to play the outside part of the lane, so did not see the plastic balls out there.
Okay, that's our big debate. There we go. I just made a prediction over here with Lyle Zykes. I said John Zerbinski's single score is in trouble. Just watching the look Matt's got there and the way he's throwing it. Obviously, I didn't see the 206, but I watched the last game, and he was pretty there every shot. And obviously, first 4 of this game, and he's getting some 7 pins to dig out and some 6s to trip. So he doesn't have to move off this pair. He's just got Charles on his side. Using some surface actually outside of him. So, boy, if I'm John Zerbinski out there watching, I'd be a little bit nervous. I don't think there's many people capable of beating that score he shot, but here's one of them right here.
Well, Jeff, we've seen it a lot, especially recently. We're starting to call it the Game 3 blues. and I don't know if you've seen much of it, but a lot of teams the last couple weeks have had really good efforts through 2 games to the 980, 960 range, and needing, we say only 440 or 430 going in to game 3, and then things just not going well. And there has to be a move to be made there. Certainly some transition happening, and something needs to happen there. A big move to get over that hump, to get past that 1400 number, to get that close after 2. As a right-hander, can you offer anything as far as what you've seen there?
Well, the biggest thing I've saw personally when our teams, we had 7, 8 of our guys practicing, the biggest thing I saw is that you really need to keep your break point in the right spot, in the same spot, which was outside 5-ish, to the right of the dartboard down the lane around 10. You had to be right of that to get the right angle to strike, and because the pattern's so flat in the middle, we played way out when we practiced with surface, trying to break that down a little and develop the break point out there. And then we moved in, but we kept getting it out to there. But it seemed like what we saw is that the big key was, what ball changes are you going to make? Because this pattern is lower mills than the team pattern. It's flatter, so the changes are going to be more dramatic. And I don't think that you can go 6 games for sure. I don't think you can go with the same ball. Maybe you can. Maybe a Mike Shady, a Mark McDowell, a straighter, harder guy on my group. But I think really that you got to have the courage to, even if you're 150 over after 2 games, you got to sit there and say, well, what did we see in practice? Maybe I'm going to make that ball change. I don't care what I have for 2 games. I know from what I saw in practice that I'm going to shoot 2-0 this next game. We're both going to shoot 2-0 if we don't change balls. And you just got to have the courage of your convictions and the courage of your game plan that you saw and just go with it. And maybe that's part of it. I haven't had a chance yet to watch Rob Gottschall's group bowl, and I saw him last weekend at the InsideBowling.com. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But from what I heard, they didn't change balls, and maybe that was the key. And that's the only thing I can really offer, because that webcast I'm going to watch when I'm home. I just haven't had a chance yet. I've been so busy. But I don't know if you guys can buy that theory at all from what you've seen, but I think that the way this pattern is, maybe Matt can for 6 games because it's just him and Charles on his side, but right-handed, like we're going to have 6 righties on our pair. I can't conceive of throwing the same ball for 6 games. I just don't see that being possible, and probably not for 3. So Steve Richter and I haven't totally nailed down what we're going to do, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have that in our mind that if we see the transition we had in practice or close to it, we're going to have a plan of a ball change, and we're just going to go to it no matter what our score is.
So you're saying a significant ball change rather than a move, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, I think, because what we saw was we just kept tipping our feet farther left and keeping our break point or our exit point off the pattern the same. Everything was down the lane to the right for the ball exiting the pattern. But if you were starting with a surface ball and moving left, at some point you're going to get where that ball is either going to hook early as you move left with your feet, or it's going to check up and just plaque 10 really bad, which is probably more likely if you break the pattern down right. And that tells me, and what we saw is that you ball down either with drilling or with a cover stock where the ball will get freer to that spot and come off it with a lot more energy. And it's a guess. I mean, you're talking about making a guess. And that's what happens when you have a sport pattern that's this difficult. The team is what it is, and it's much easier than this, obviously. But in this pattern is a hard pattern. It's just like last year's in Baton Rouge. It's very close, and you can't use the same ball, I don't think, for 6 games or maybe even 3. Or I mean, we're going to find out, but we're going to be aggressive with our things, and if we believe in something, we're going to it. I don't care if Steve and I might be 175 over after 2 games or something. If we have it in our mind and we're seeing what we think we're seeing, you'll see 2 different balls come out of our hands at the point we decide that it's going to happen.
Tell you what, we talked earlier about the amount of talent on this very small squad here, but if you take a look at lanes 27 and 28 right now, Matt Kabansky is making light work of this 39-foot pattern. 245, 246, and a 279 pace here in game number 3, and
wow.
He's had some great success in Texas. Eric Martinez as well. Bugsy Kelly, of course,
Oh, yeah,
the Columbia
Bugsy.
300 brand manager. So those guys, RJ Klein as well. RJ had 719 in the team event last night. Struggled here early in doubles, but Kabansky, really the guy to watch on this squad right now. But as you said, as things develop here on this pair, 15 and 16, the team breaking them down together and things opening up for singles, we could see some big numbers on either pair at this point going into the next 3 games.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you a question. I mean, you've been doing this for how many years now as the PR? At least 10?
This is number 9.
Number 9, okay.
We started back in 05 when the 298 heard around the world.
Yeah, the 5.7 298. It was a good 5.7 because it was a 4.57 hitting the head pin came off the wall too hard, but whatever. It was the best 298 in history in my mind because it got me an eagle.
Two eagles, by the way.
Well, yes, 2. What I wanted to ask you is, have you ever seen a stretch of days at this tournament with as much stars and talent and ability as this week has seen?
I really think we say that every year, and it just gets better and better. And just the amount of players coming out of college, Marshall Kent and Danielle McEwen, Jacob Kent all sneaking onto rosters this week.
Really?
They'll be here as well. Jacob bowled earlier. I believe Marshall and Danielle bowl tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, if they didn't sneak in there today. Of course, Doug Kent will be here as well. So a lot of players coming off the PBA Tour, a lot of great players coming through college, Team USA. Just a lot more big profile events for these guys to get the games in and get the experience. And I don't know, this week as far as live streaming and everybody in town, it's just phenomenal, like you said. And it really only gets better every day.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many potential future Hall of Famers or already Hall of Famers bowling this way. I mean, we've got 2 guys right here. And Matt, it's just a matter of getting 20 years in, probably, and how many he might get. And Sam Lanto, I'm sure he's going to get in at some point. He's, to me, comparable to Lenny Borish in not having a lot of eagles, but he's been the bowler along probably with Lenny of the last 25 years of the tournament, and maybe even a little guy like me, but he's been more consistent than I ever was. I mean, I think he's got 3 or 4 2100s or better, maybe 4 now. And I think he's definitely a guy that's going to come up on our radar screen for Hall of Fame in the future. And then you've got, Kent in the group and so many guys going in the next few days that are in the Hall of Fame because they're here for the inductions in bowling. Lyle Zykes is over here. His dad Les is bowling, and there's just such a great bunch of webcasters. Steve Klumpkin's group's bowling Thursday night. That's another guy that probably is a future potential Hall of Famer in the USBC category. And then you've got young guys like Marshall and young gals like Danielle. I haven't had a chance to see Marshall in person. I've just seen webcasts of him, but I tell you, boy, if there's not, he's got to be, if not the best, one of the couple of best, under 25 bowlers in the world, I would sure say.
Well, every day is obviously an adventure here. You never know who's going to walk in the door, who's going to put up a number. I know I've talked to John Gaines a lot, and he's doing a countdown at home. Who's coming in? What top teams do we need to worry about now? And Vernon Peterson as well. Always checking in on Facebook anytime there's some talent. I know those guys feel, probably a little better after this week if they can make it through, and then you guys are here in just a couple weeks. But really, there's no time to relax. I mean, there's always potential for somebody we've never heard of to make a name for it. Like Matt Wegan, for example.
Sure.
There's somebody that was not on our radar before 2011. And he got it done. First bowler in history with back-to-back 800s. Now he's in the record books forever with 2 titles. So you never do know. I mean, you can sweat out the names you know, but you also gotta look at the other guys in the team event. As of late, it's not necessarily the big names.
Right.
Getting it done, shooting 3,400. It's out there. It's out there for everybody. You just have to have a good team and a good game plan. And
a lot of people have this in their head. I go back and forth with some of them on Facebook. The pattern's too easy in team. The scores are too high, blah, 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 blah. And so far, we have yet to see, it's been big names have been winning. Great bowlers win. That's all I really care about. And the thing that doesn't get talked about is, let's go back 10 years before people really had it in their head that you work the lanes as 10 people together. Maybe we were sort of the pioneers. I know other people were doing it too. We kind of did it in the 1980s with our Rich Wonders' group. Not as sophisticated as we do now, but we started doing it and it started getting publicized, and then the next thing Mike Jasnow was doing coaching and still does. Now we have the team coaching with the last 2 years with Bill Hall last year and Matt this year. I mean, there's so much more knowledge and and thinking that goes into it and strategy that makes the scores potentially high. I mean, that pattern was really hard last year, and they shot 30, Andy Mills and Nick Heilman, those guys had 3,400 on that because they worked together. And if you could come out on a, not a house shot, but that's a fairly soft sport pattern that we're bowling on in team event. If you don't play it together right, it's not going to be easy. And yet you can take a harder sport pattern like we had last year, and if you play it correctly together, you can outscore people who on a softer one don't play together. And that's the thing that I think gets just totally lost in a lot of this debate about scores and a lot of the crying and the frying that goes on, is that it's a different way of bowling this tournament than there was for the most part. There were only a few of us that were doing it 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Well, this event, though, one of the great features about it is that every year is a different lane condition. So some years, a little bit higher scoring pace. Some years, like last year in 2005, of course, a little bit lower. It's all about the challenge. You got to go out there no matter what, make good shots, make your spares, and in some cases now, obviously, work together, a little bit of strategy and game plan. But again, it's sport bowling. There's different variances of it, of course. This year's team pattern, a little bit less challenging perhaps for some folks than in the past. Doubles and singles and equalizer, a test of versatility now. You have to conquer 2 patterns to win an all events title here. So all different factors, of course, and if it was the same every year, everybody would figure it out, and then it would be super high scores anyway. So we like to mix it up, of course, every year. Eric Pearson does a great job, and here we are.
And we also have another factor here that I probably should have answered or written about somewhere in the last couple of months, but you've got bowling lanes here that have had thousands, tens of thousands of games on them. What was the last time they were replaced before 2007?
For the women's event in 06.
Okay.
So for our 07.
Okay, so you have a surface here that has got so many games on it compared to Baton Rouge, which was brand new, or what it'll be not next time, I know they're getting replaced again in a year or two, where you have a lot of built-in friction on the lane. And the pattern opens up a lot quicker when you have older lanes that have built-in friction on them. That's going to increase the scores for teams that work together more than what they were when they were brand new. That's why people say, well, I bowled on the showcase lanes and it was a way different reaction up there. Well, the showcase lanes are brand new this year. They're going to be crisper, the heads are going to be tighter, the back ends are therefore going to be sharper. You come up here, these lanes have a lot of games on them. The track has some burn or whatever word, glaze into it, and that pattern's going to break down quicker. It's going to have friction from the start more than downstairs, and if you do it right, it's going to lead to higher scores. That's another factor that plays in here versus a new setup. And when do we get new lanes before next year here, or is it before 15?
It's all part of the upcoming
upgrade.
Renovations. Obviously, the showcase lanes downstairs, the first part of that, a $15 million project that includes the squad room, the lanes, our new video screen here, showcase lanes, the whole downstairs, actually, the front of the building. So, more on that to come, of course, as they figure out the details and as things unfold.
But that's a big factor, having lanes that, are burned in or whatever you want to call it. I think that's a huge difference that a lot of bowlers don't quite, they aren't aware of those sorts of things. It plays into all the sophisticated stuff that the real the Kegel people and those guys understand a lot more than a guy like me does. I just listen a lot and ask a lot of questions, and I've learned that way through the years.
Well, we're getting towards the end of Game 3 of doubles here. 2013 USBC Open Championships, Matt McNiel and Charles Vashaw came in as the defending champions. They will not leave on top of the leaderboards, but putting up a solid effort here for McNiel. 206, 237, a possible 259 out there in Game 3. Charles 183, 188, and possible 192 here in Game 3.
Did you watch last night team event, Matt? Aaron?
Didn't see much of it. Was out here a little bit in Game 2 and really couldn't comment too much on as far as what they were going for. Obviously, with Matt being the coach downstairs, I'm sure their game plan was, as we've heard on many of the live streamings when Matt's joined us, staying right as far as they can and creating space, but I didn't get a chance to actually see how they got to.
I
to that point.
didn't send any messages to Matt today. I didn't want to bug him. I took off, and what I wrote took off his Facebook post, and I knew I'd see him out here, and I'm sure that I've been in his shoes a few times, and I'm sure that there was a lot of determination. That I'll have a chance to talk to him after he's all done here. I don't like to bother people when they're in the midst of stuff. If they do really good, I'll send a message, say, hey, if you want to offer me anything that I can use. But it's like when I go to a PBA event and I walked around at the World Series of Bowling last year. I don't bother anybody that's down bowling. They're doing their job. I was in that position. If someone comes up to me and says, hey, Riggs, how you doing, and initiates the contact, that's fine. But I don't like to bother anybody, and I just figured that he was in the mode to get focused on today and probably didn't want to talk about last night. But I was just kind of curious. I'm as shocked as I'm sure a lot of people are that you'd never guess that he would be the low guy on the team. But, sometimes you can bowl great and shoot 612. Well, I've done that. I shot 1780 in 2006, and I had four. I remember counting them up, 45 9 counts, most of which were in the pocket. I had 3 pocket splits, and we missed the team. I had 1780. We missed team offense by 98 pins. Never forget that one. I had the ball I needed was sitting home on my dining room floor.
Well, Matt actually came on our broadcast earlier with Terrell Owens and talked a little bit about last night. Commented that his spare shooting was not up to par. Had a couple of 9 dashes, so he didn't feel real good about that. But he said his role in this group has changed a little bit this year because he's here every single day.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to offer more ideas to these guys about the moves to make, the ball selections. He mapped out some balls, drilled them up for them to get them comfortable. He's able to talk them through it. And Lanto, 733. Voigtlander, 721. John East, 711. And Todd Savoy, 659. So
he's like a player coach.
He did a good job of it. They had the right balls in their hands, and they went out and got it done, and then he struggled.
Right, because he might have been focusing on the coaching more than the playing, so to speak, and did a great job as a coach and maybe not as good a job as a player. I can relate to that a little.
Well, and there's a certain comfort level and a routine, and you guys know this, just as well, up in the Madison area. I know you guys go to Sheboygan, practice together, and Richter's kind of the homework guy, looks at the lane pattern, makes sure that it's out there, bowls on a little bit, does everything right to set it up for you guys. And then you guys go out there, talk equipment, and you practice together when you can, and discuss it, come up with the plan and how it's going to go. You have state tournament, city tournament, different things you can do together. It's a routine that really doesn't change. And for Matt and these guys, it changed this year a little bit as far as their tournament season, which generally is, January, February, March leading up to this event. So, again, everybody seems to have their role in it. Your group, everybody has their spot. And Matt's role changed this year. And
he
it worked
wasn't
out.
at home. Yeah. He was here.
He was here. He practiced when he could, out of his environment. But, it's still 34-36 is nothing to be upset about.
Oh, no. I wouldn't say that. And that was another thing I thought about the day when I was flying that you're getting at right there that I didn't think about when I wrote this morning because I was taking a quick break. I went into work early so I could take a little time to do that. And, how much tournament competition has Matt had since he got out here? He's busy every single day. Coaching and that, what do you got? Bowler's Journal, 1, 2, 3, BTM, but it's not like all the stuff he bowls at home. He's not tournament sharp, I'm sure, like he usually is.
And that's exactly what he said after I ran into him after they finished up. I think his last actual competition was the Masters.
Sure.
That was right before he flew out here, or drove out here, and that was the biggest thing. He's, like I say, he's been keeping up with practice. We have an employee league he's been participating in. That's obviously not the same thing, but yeah, that was the biggest thing he said was he just didn't feel tournament sharp.
Yep. You can't replace those shots you make, and there's a great one there, under pressure. The shots that you make for money, for winning, for making the cut, for making match play, for making a check, whatever. The tournaments that you bowl, like guys like me and him do, where you're weekend after weekend after weekend, that keeps you. It's a mental sharpness that you get, or just a fine tune or whatever, where you're used to being in the spots. And I see that when I might take 3-4 weeks off or something for whatever reasons, a couple weeks off. And he's had basically a couple months off. So, it's a tough situation for him. Not to mention the incredible pressure he's under. He's, the scrutiny he has, the name he has, 3 2200s in a row. I've come here 4 times as a defending champion, and I've had, 3 pretty bad years. It's tough. There's no doubt. There's a ball change on the fill ball. So I sympathize greatly with him, and I think he's thrown a pretty impressive set here, and I'm very interested to see what he's going to shoot in singles here.
In their title defense, Charles and Matt, 12.52, about 150 pins off the 14.03 that's currently leading. And they're not wasting any time. We're getting right into singles here.
That's the great thing about the 6 on a pair is, unlike with no flipping and 6 on a pair, we've had a couple of years where even though we were flipping with our own guys, if there was a breakdown or something, you got your momentum, you got 4 guys going, and all of a sudden between doubles and singles is like a 10-minute break or something. There's nothing worse than that. So not only fresh oil, but 6 on a pair, a slower pace, and just being able to stay on your same pair, get right into your next set, no waiting. Just a much better format. For the right-handers out there watching, the one thing I see with these guys that is very different than what we saw in practice is they were going very hard and very straight a lot longer than we did in practice, and they kind of paralleled in. And now I'm seeing like Sam there, he moved in and tried to go around it a little, and his ball didn't make it back. But he was in farther. His break point or exit point was closer to that second, the long divider around 10 board, the dark board way down there. And we were going way more around it like that. And I'm not saying that what's out there is what we saw in practice at Richter's place, but they attacked this in a different way than we did. We played that straight up the outside for a very short time, and then we quickly got our feet and to go around it. And based on what I saw, Matt, Team Tilt, some of your video and that, they were boomeranging. And I'm not saying that Sam and, these guys are closer to us in rev rate and that. The one thing they do is they throw it a lot harder than any of my group does, so they maybe are not going to be able to get in and get around it. So it looks like the right side's pretty difficult for them right now compared to what I saw when we opened up in practice and what I've seen from Team Tilt in that.
Well, and Riggs, we talked to somebody Rick Thomas, very early in the event about how things developed in doubles and singles, and he told us something very similar. That it got to a point where he started, towards the outside where he did a team event, had a good look, and then all of a sudden the ball, didn't want to turn the corner. A lot of flat 10 pins. So at that point, he made a huge move.
Yep.
He moved way left and started to go around it a little bit, like you said, a little bit less direct, something that was going to kind of boomerang, bank off the dry there that they had created, and had a very solid effort there after that. He was able to make that move, but it was a brave move, a big move, and that's what it took. So, they broke it down how they wanted to. We saw that also with our original singles leader,
Greg
Roberts from Oshkosh, somebody you may know as well.
I know the name. I think I've seen him bowl a couple times.
I want to say he shot 460 in doubles and playing the outside, and it was just not comfortable at all. Made, a huge move left and just wheeled the whole lane. Shot 770.
Well, I just, from what I saw and what I've seen and what Steve and I have talked about in Shady and Steve and I are kind of the 3 of us that go around. We don't include all 10 of us because it just gets to be too much, but when we're compiling our game plan, it's usually the 3 of us that sort of do it. And we've equated this pattern this year kind of to the cheetah pattern on the PBA. Not that easy because there's hang on the outside on this pattern that's usually not there on the cheetah pattern. But it's the same sort of thing that on the fresh with the back ends really crisp and going sideways, you want to find something that lets you play stable and smooth up the outside. And then once you've kind of broke that in, carried some oil down, then you keep your break point in the same spot, but you get your feet left going to the same spot. And, that's not something everybody can do. I think it's a little advantage for a guy with a little bit of power at least. You can't be a real straight player. You got to have some ability to go in and around it and not be too fast. And I think Sam is a guy whose game is not really made for that. And what he shoots here, I'll be real interested on their side. And maybe, I think Todd can maybe get in and get around it a little bit more, even though he's more my age or a little older. But I think you just got to go with what you call the boomerang shot. There's just no hold to go parallel and keep going left. There's just no hold there. So the only other option, if you want to go hard and straight, is to ball way down and stay out between 5 and 10, going real hard and straight. It looks like that's kind of what Luke did here, and it looks like that's what John did here. So that's the other option, to go something real shiny and smooth and get out there and use your ball speed and your straightness to do that. So maybe that will work great for him here. But if you're going to, I think you got to use one of those two options. I don't think you can ever get to the point where your break point is inside that long blackboard, dartboard down the lane. And you saw that. You guys witnessed Lodge Lanes. I think they did it wrong, and they'll tell you that.
Well, we certainly haven't seen a lot of doubles and singles action. And early on, we saw Curtis Odom, and he was bowling with his friends. Wouldn't say it was the top caliber players out there in Michigan, but they came out and they had their strategy, did it a little bit differently. Didn't score all that well. We did see a 299 on that broadcast. Then, as you said, we saw Lodge Lanes, and even though things didn't go so well for them overall, John Janowitz came away with the all-events lead at the time. And then we saw Gottschall and those guys. They had the Game 3 blues and never really recovered after that. Gave it a run for sure for Team All Events.
Wow. If he's going to get that, John Zerbinski is in big trouble. Because he as soon as he let that go, he knew that shot was wide. And it made it back enough to get the light mixer.
I think one of the most interesting things we've seen in our doubles broadcasts, a few guys from your area, Jeff, Benny Hayes and Henry Teets,
yep.
Both fairly straight guys, kind of use that to their advantage.
And they played in to start, didn't they? From what they said, they were not out around 5. They started around 10, didn't they?
They were a little bit further in than we've seen some folks, but with their rev rates and ball speed, they were able to keep fairly straight angles and came a shot or two away from leading right now. So
that's two really good straight guys right there. I mean, Benny is over 60 now, I believe. He's always been one of the best guys going straight down the lane in Wisconsin, going way back. And while Henry, I mean, if you give Henry's one of those guys that he doesn't really have a B or C game, but if you give him his A game, boy, watch out. He proved that last year winning an Eagle. And wouldn't it have been something if he could have gotten him and Benny? He could have got. Has anybody ever done that one? Win the singles one year, doubles the next year, or vice versa? I don't think that one's ever been done. That would have really been something. And they're only 15 pins off.
Not even that. I think
11.
11 is the number.
That's really something.
And that was after a 399 start too out of the gates. It went 200, 199, and then it really opened up for them, and they were able to take advantage with their games.
I got to say, watching that video with the Janowitz group, I really think that John Janowitz might have bowled his singles. Those might have been about the best 3 games ever bowled at this tournament. And there's been guys shot, Bo Gergen and Ronnie Volk shot 100 more than that. But you watch the other 5 guys on his pair and how bad their ball reaction was, and he shot 740, and those were 5 really good bowlers. And that just tells you how phenomenally John bowled there, because I think they just got a little too far left, a little too fast, and didn't really have much there. And for John to shoot that, boy, I can't wait till the next time I run into him so I can shake his hand. I was in awe watching that whole set. And I'd seen some of the Team Tilt video on that, and I said, man, their break points, 10, or their laydowns 10, 15 left of those guys. I said, something's weird here. Yeah. So, you can tell the way Matt's reacting here. He feels it. He thinks it's out there. And he's done it, how many times now? He's had the 800s, but he's had 780 or better. He's had a couple more that were 780 between, 780, 790, right?
I believe his 2000 singles performance capped that. He went 792 in team last year.
Yeah.
So it's he knows how to strike at will here.
Yeah, so you can tell the way he's reacting there, leaving that 7-pin, that it's in his mind. It's got to be in his mind. As good as he is and what he shot, it's got to be in his mind that, look at that, there's a 782, 780, 822, 806, 792, 847. So he has 5 sets of 780 or better here. I have 5 eagles, and I have 0 sets of 780 or better.
I believe I watched you shoot.
I got a couple 770s.
Wasn't it 787 on the way to the doubles title?
No, that was, oh, wait, it was. Okay,
Oh.
it was. I was thinking it was 777. You're right, it was 787.
713 for Mr. Richter.
Yep, you're right. Okay,
All
I got
right.
one.
Just making
But he has
sure.
5. And he only has 6 years in? Wow. But so he knows in his heart, he knows in his mind, in his heart, I can shoot 800 here. It's not any, there's no fear. There's some bowlers that have a fear. They get so many strikes in a row and they start thinking about what they might shoot. They're scared to do that. I know bowlers like that. You can't, if you're going to win tournaments, you cannot be afraid of throwing huge numbers, especially in bowling today. You just gotta put the numbers out of your head and just think, I can throw a strike on every shot when I have a reaction. And I know that Matt's got that in his head. And, I mean, there he left a 7-pin after he got a light mixer hit. This is going to come down to 3 games of his ball being in the pocket, probably either every shot or very close to every shot. And it's just going to be how many hits does he carry. He might shoot 680. He might shoot 820.
Well, guys, there's almost 400 people watching right now as Matt McNeil.
What time is it at home on the East
Yeah.
Coast? Believe me, it's late, I can tell you.
It is 12:30 here, so 3:30 on the East Coast. Great shot there from McNeil. A lot of folks tuning in. We do appreciate it. Once again, Matt Canizaro, Aaron Smith, and Jeff Riggles here in the late 10:30 doubles and single shift, the 2013 USBC Open Championships. Behind lanes 15 and 16 at the National Bowling Stadium. Matt McNeil, the defending all events champion. The doubles effort, 1252 in their title defense here. So they will not repeat. We'll see if Matt can provide some more fireworks here on our live stream. He's 2 for 2 so far, 300 games and 800 series. So we'll see what he's got in store for us tonight.
And you got some good women's action going here in the next couple of days, too. All right, I know Aaron comes over and helps you. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Lost for a second. Aaron comes over and helps you here. Are you going over to help him?
We are headed that way in 10 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I thought that was tomorrow morning. You have
Leanne Holsenberg and Kim Terrell Kearney on our 11 a.m. team event at the Women's Championships. First broadcast from that event this year, and first time both events in the same host city in the same year. Amazing. And then we'll head back over here to the Hall of Fame dinner. We'll help Lucas get that on Bowl TV. And then, of course, we're back at it Friday with Nelson and Bach and those guys, Friday night. And then Saturday evening, with Carolyn Doran Ballard and her team over at the Women's Championships. So
Did you see the new nickname that Randy Peterson?
I heard about that.
He used that. He showed up. I was doing the webcast, the first squad with InsideBowling.com Open in St. Louis last weekend, and Carolyn was bowling really good, and Dell was a couple pairs away. It was actually great theater, and Randy came up because he was there for the webcast for the weekend. Also, he showed up just towards the end when they were bowling, and he gave the greatest nickname I think I've heard in a long time, and that was Carolyn Doran Ballard is the Honey Badger. And I think that's really true because I would rank her, in my mind, Pete Weber is the greatest competitor I've ever bowled around in my entire career. Mark McDowell's close, but I think Pete probably is the best, just the fire and intensity, the hate to lose. But Carolyn, of all the women I've watched in my career, and believe me, when they were on ESPN, I was watching every show, taping them and watching them. And I just loved her intensity. And when he called her the Honey Badger, I said, I'm using that one. And that's going to stick because that's what she is. I mean, she still is that way, even with limited competitive opportunities, and she's still very good. She almost made the cut there against an unbelievably strong field.
Well, no doubt we're going to see our share of excitement on our live stream broadcast this week. And those guys hanging over the rail, checking out the action right now, they don't want to miss a minute of it, taking some notes, I'm sure, as well. That team event coming up Friday night, Bach and Nelson. So check out the live stream schedule on bowl.com. And there's plenty more action from Reno the rest of the way. We're only part way through, actually halfway through. Kicked off March 1st. We're going all the way till July 7th. A lot of great teams and great bowlers scheduled to come through, so no score is safe until that phone call is made on July 7th.
Oh, I would definitely say that. I know that there's some really good bowlers bowling right at the end of the tournament. So
The very last day, actually, Del Ballard and Jason Milligan, Steve Smith will be here the last 2 days, so certainly no rest for Mr. Gaines, and at this point, Mr. Drabinski. But we'll see if McNiel can say anything about that with a couple more shots like the last one.
boy, I'll tell you, if I can give a little Matt McNiel anecdote here, I personally think from seeing him in tournaments in the Midwest and what he's done, that, and this is no knock on Scott Norton, it's no knock on any lefty on tour, but I think if Matt went out on tour full time, if there was a tour that was a tour, he would be either the best or among the best lefties right away. I mean, he reminds me of Parker when Parker and I were young, when I was out a hack on tour and Parker was the guy coming up. The same kind of just pure free swing, great release, and and Parker's going to turn 50 this year. Parker's still fantastic, but I just look at Matt and I've seen him bowl not just out here, but we had a tournament last year. I've seen him win a couple of big tournaments in the Midwest, but we had one last year in August at Dubuque, Iowa, and it was 1.6 to 1, huge volume, 40-some feet down the lane. There were PBA exempt guys. I'll name two of them and embarrass them here. Chad Kloss, Jason Wojnar. They made the finals, and they were playing 20, and they threw gutter balls. They were playing fourth arrow and threw gutter balls. I'm not kidding you. If you threw it on the right side, outside 10 board, it was going dead to the right, and same on the left side. And on that type of pattern, you'd almost never think a lefty would have any chance of winning, because all the righties immediately migrated to the left with heavy surface. And so they're throwing their balls in the laydown area where, and lefties could not, you could not hook it outside 10. You couldn't go straight up 5, or no matter how good you were. You just couldn't. So Matt sat there all day Sunday for 16 games, firing it up between just inside a 10 board, and he couldn't move because anything right of that was righties blowing it up. Anything left of that went dead straight. And I sat there watching because this was the 11thframe.com Open, so it was a tournament after my website. It was Mike Flanagan put it on, Inside Bowling put it on, and it was unbelievable. Bam. He impressed me more that day than in anything he did at the Open Championships, because I would have said no possible way any lefty could probably even cash, much less make the finals, forget win it, and he went through it, and then he ended up winning. And I'll tell you, he had like a crack to hit, and he just kept hitting it. He wasn't shooting big scores, but no one was. And it was an amazing display, and that comes from having the free swing he has and the clean release, and just being able to go straight up the boards, shot after shot, fairly accurately. It was an amazing display. I wanted to share that anecdote on this webcast tonight, just so people can understand how good Matt is. Not just at the Open Championships, that he wins a lot of other stuff that, and on conditions where you just wouldn't say. And he thinks like a righty too when you talk to him, so to speak. he knows the game. Obviously he must be a pretty good coach from everything I've heard, and he has knowledge like nothing. And so I'm not a guy that throws praise around at lefties unless they've done stuff, say, on the PBA or that, but I think the world of him as a bowler.
Well, McNiel so far this year in his title run or title defense effort here, 612 in the team event, 700 in doubles. So it would take 916 for him to get to the lead here in all events. So he will not repeat. So now he's going to have to settle his sights on the singles lead potentially. 789 is the number right now. John Zerbinski. So that all events lead is safe. So if anybody's around John, let him know. But McNiel working on 3 in a row here, looking for 4. And as we talked about, he had the opportunity to break this pair down. Him and Charles. And we'll see how that works out for them. 6 games, following yourself. So it can't really get any better than that or any fairer.
Yeah, like I said, I've said it a couple times already. I definitely think Matt's got the potential to get past John here. It's just going to come down to carry. I can't imagine him throwing too many shots that aren't going to be in the 1-2. There's another one. It's how many ring 7s does he leave? How many weak 7s? How many 6s? that sort of thing. Does he throw that bad shot where he gets out of time in big fours or washes out? So far, we haven't seen it.
Well, he's got that look on his face that we saw last year in Baton Rouge, and he's got that water cup going. And,
I know that one.
In that double set, it was, throw a shot, grab the water cup, have a drink, put it down, and it was a routine that went on for 3 games, and it worked out, and he's got that determined look. Not as much smiling and laughing. This is serious business now.
Yep.
He's
mention that.
He's eyeing that singles title.
I can relate to the water cup. In 11, when we won the team event, I drank so much water because I had so much adrenaline, so much cotton mouth, and so much just the last game there that I had to run to the bathroom when we got done there after I got done talking to you. I can't believe how many cups of water I drank that. But it's dry out here, and just the intensity, the energy, the adrenaline, you just get thirsty.
I must say, Jeff, that was one of the greatest performances I ever saw. I was actually bowling that same squad on 25-6.
Well, you were next to us then.
Right there.
Basically.
Yeah, and his bracket money is in your pocket as well.
as well, so. But that was certainly, it was funny because the group that I bowled with that year, more your blue-collar guys, and I just kind of put in their ear, it's like, when we were sitting in the squad room, like, wait till they announce these guys. Just how long is this going to take? And then they're like, wow, that's pretty impressive. And you guys got to a little bit of a not a huge start, a decent start. And
it was a better one than the year before, but it wasn't great.
And they were kind of looking around, and I'm like, just wait. And then all of a sudden, the way you guys started game 3, I'm like, this is going to get nutty quick, and it certainly did. 1281 still the highest in the tournament history. So
yeah, I got a feeling that might fall this year. But if it does, it does. That's not a big deal. I've written that you could make the record books for this tournament and make about 5 different categories. You could make the years of rubber balls, and then you could make the years of plastic, and then you could go to when synthetic lanes came in, and then when resin balls came in. And we've had team event wasn't all fresh oil until 2003. So when you talk about what Brugger's Bagels shot with 35-37, that was a whole different tournament basically than shooting it on all fresh. And Matt is feeling it. I remember when we won the team event in 1986 in Las Vegas, my first eagle, we shot 32.53, and we were throwing yellow dots and the shiniest hammers and black angles you could throw, and that was the 3rd highest regular division team score ever. Think about that for all you young people that are out there saying, think about that. 32.53 25 years ago, now 27, was the 3rd highest score ever shot in the team event. Now 32.53 is going to probably this year finish about 100th, something like that. It's a different game. I'm not saying I'm not in any way saying it's bad. It's just, it's different. The game's different.
Has adapted to the changes, and will continue to do that throughout the years.
Yep, that's why I argue that Pete's the best ever, because he's the one guy that's been at the very top through all those changes. Not rubber balls, but he started when it was plastic. He was a dominant young player when it was plastic and urethane. He struggled a little bit at the start of resin, but he's been the dominant player through all of the ball changes since then once he figured that out. And there's nobody else that... Walter Ray, yes, he was bowler of the year in 86 with urethane, but I don't think Walter running... he wasn't quite... those are the 2 guys, I guess. You can make your argument with Walter. Walter's just so accurate that I don't think it matters if he threw a square ball down the lane. Pete's the guy that's made the 5 million changes to his game. What do you think here, guys? I think, boy, I love watching John Zerbinski bowl too. Watching him in I caught some of the webcast of the team trials when he won that this year, and obviously the PBA stuff with the, winning with Pete's team, the Kingpins, Billy Jean's team. But if I'm him sitting right now, if you're watching out there, I know the feeling. I remember the year we took the lead in 11, and we watched Nape's team, my buddy, Big Mike Nape, and they had like a huge first game, and they had a huge second game going, and I was certain they were going to beat us, and I turned it off and went down to my girlfriend and said, let's just eat dinner. I turned the computer off. I don't care. If they beat us, I'll be happy for those guys, and if they don't, I'll be happy for us, but I can't watch anymore. mean, we're looking at a 279 going to the 10th here, and if he does this, how awesome would that be?
It would be fantastic, and fantastic for all those folks tuning in the early hours of, it's Thursday now, right?
And we've got a guy bowling here that holds the record for years in a row, right? Les Sykes, Eagles in
3 consecutive years.
3 consecutive years. Now Matt can't do that because he went first in all events, third in all events, first in all events in doubles, and maybe let's say he wins singles here. But 3 out of 4 with a 3rd place in all events. Okay, that's pretty much up there with Les. But Les will be bowling. Lyle said he's bowling at 7 o'clock Friday night, I believe.
I believe that's on our board in the office.
Yep. And trust me, Les can still throw it pretty good. He's over 70. He can still throw it pretty good.
Well, even since 2005 when I came on board here, the record books completely rewritten, pretty much. Nothing except that team all events number still standing, 10,425. That's back in 1996, so
yep.
Almost a different era there. And again, some of those guys in town this week as well. But again, you just never know. When I saw Ron Vokes shoot 857 and 2321, I thought that was one of the greatest, coolest performances I'd ever seen from a guy I've never heard of. His high set before that, 1926, in 23 years or however many at the Open Championships. And to have a day like that, and I thought that number was going to stand for a while, if not forever. And then a year later, almost to the day, McNiel shoots 23-26, so nothing surprises me anymore. I guess was what I was getting at there. So, go for it. Let's see it. Let's see a big night. It makes the story that much better.
Well, I think for people that get back to harping on my same points, but it's people worry about records and beating them and what the scores are and that. Well, like I said, the tournament is not what it was. You got ball technology, lane machine technology, synthetic lanes versus wood lanes. You've got fresh oil for all squads now. When I bowled the tournament the first, whatever it was, 20 years that I bowled the tournament, more than 20 years, we never bowled on fresh oil. We bowled a late squad of minors, and we bowled a late squad of team, and we never once bowled on fresh oil. So, I mean, you can't compare what we were shooting doing that to what you do now with, we were using yellow dots and that sort of thing. When I shot the first 3 years I bowled with Rich Wonder's group, I broke 1900 all 3 years. That tied the record for the most 1900s in a row. I mean, are you kidding me? 1900, is not even anything to talk about now. I mean, Shady's got 17 years. He's bowled 17 years in this term. He's got 17 straight 1900s. Ooh, there's a nice hit. Don Cook, one of my teammates on that Kendor group, he had, I believe it was 11 or 12, maybe it was 13, 1800s in a row from like 1980 to 92. That was a record then. I mean, you don't even keep that record anymore. 1800s. Meaningless. Now it's like, we talked about this, Matt, a couple of years ago. I said, who's got the most 2000s or 2100s? And he said, well, we don't really keep that anymore. There's been so many. It's how many 2200s do you have? And heck, there wasn't a single 2200 until the 1990s. So, it's just, scores are just numbers.
Well, it's an evolution, of course, and right now these guys bowling against 50,000 plus other bowlers, and in this year, in the present, so they're all looking at the same opportunities, same technologies, taking advantage of the showcase lanes downstairs, having team practice sessions. Of course, bowling at the Bowlers Journal Championships, getting a feel for this doubles and singles lane condition, and we're offering all of that inside this venue. So there's no extra advantages, of course.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That was a very clean release, very nice shot. You got the messenger, just didn't knock it down. There's your difference, okay? Looking at 270, there's 250. That might, where we're sitting, the difference between 770 and 790 when we're done. Who knows? Wow, he went up there quick. That's the way Pete shoots single pins. I never get over. I wish I could do that. I probably throw it, miss it by a foot. Of course, I do that anyway. But But Pete's a guy that just picks up his spare ball and just goes up there and just lets it go like that. And Matt made that shot. I don't even think he came to a stop on the approach. That's just such confidence that you're going to hit your spot.
It didn't appear that he switched balls either. I know when we bowl
No,
league,
it wasn't.
We bowl league on Wednesday nights. Usually he's got a spare ball out there, but I don't know. Maybe the spare ball got retired after last night.
258 out of the gates from Matt McNiel.
Yep, and that shot there, those 2 shots in the 10th, there's the difference between maybe another eagle and not. The messenger on the fill ball clubs the 7. The messenger on the first ball in the 10th hits it, goes around it, wiggles it, doesn't knock it over.
These guys came in 34-36 in the team event. Start here in singles. Lanto 212, Voigtlander 216, McNiel 258, Savoy 241, East 243, and Vashaw 221. Aaron's doing some calculations. There are some folks curious about team all events. That number is a monster, 10,247.
No chance for these guys. They didn't have enough in doubles. What'd they have, 3,200 in doubles?
Not even that.
Not even that. Yeah, they got, no offense, not being critical. I'm just looking at pure numbers.
31.57 in doubles, so they still had to jot it down here. 36.54 was the number for singles, about 243 a guy.
Yeah,
that's 1170 is a nice start, but yeah, they'll.
That's not even enough. I mean, that's not even average. They got to have
That's
a 1,300 game. They're really going to do it.
Well, these guys come in every year, contenders in every event, no doubt. Last night made a run at the team event. Can't win them all, of course, and no doubt they'll be back, same time next year, and equally motivated. Certainly with the number of eagles collected by these guys, with a minimum of 2 between the 6 of them. Always a threat here at the Open Championships.
I always say if you're a really top-level bowler and you bowl with a top-level group, that you'll probably bowl. If you bowl 30 years before you get too old at the Open Championships, maybe 35, I don't know what age you're too old, we're getting close, you're probably going to get 5, 10, maybe 15 good shots at it, but you just can't control anything. I've got a couple of buddies like Jace Peterson, doesn't have an eagle. I broke his heart a couple of years ago, our team did in 2011. And, Vernon Peterson is the perfect example. I remember the year that I had my Hall of Fame induction. We sat in the bar at down in Dallas at the hotel there, and had a couple drinks, and we were chatting, and he was congratulating me. We were talking about the Open Championships, and he was like, "I can't believe how many times and I said, "Well, the breaks have gone my way many times," and for him, the breaks have never gone his way to win. And I saw him last weekend at the IB.com Open, and I didn't get a chance to talk with him in any detail, but it was nice to see he was really happy. But I know he's nervous, and he's just got that weight to go. And somebody like Ronnie Vokes can come out and have that career year and win, and he might never come close again. And a guy like Vernon's been close so many times. Jace Peterson's been so close so many times, and it's a guy like that. I'm kind of, if our team isn't going to come out here and shoot 35, 50 or more, I'd like to see Vernon win, because he's a fantastic bowler who's one of the best this country has seen off the PBA Tour in the last 30 years, and it would be really, really, I don't know, it would be a matter of justice for a guy like that to win. I would love to see that.
I believe Vernon was checking in with Matt yesterday while these guys were making their run at 35-38 total. So
we'll be trying to break his heart, though, in a couple weeks.
To our right, Bugsy Kelly, 263, the first game of singles. Richard Hansen from Clarksville, Tennessee, 257 over on 27 and 8. So we'll see how they go.
Yeah, this is a good squad. What did Kubanski end up with in doubles? Did you?
It was about 720. I think he went 245, 246, 220 and change the last game. So.
Did he have a good team score?
655, 719 for Kubanski, 719, 638 for RJ Clan. So good numbers.
I got to think that Zerbinski has probably, in my mind, a better chance of hanging on to the all events than the singles. Because, you only need 3 games in that singles. You need 9 in that all events. And I can name a few guys that I've already listed, like Lenny Borish and Shady, that, come to the top of my mind for guys who could make a good run at his all event score if it holds up. But boy, in singles, you can name, it could be anybody. Matt, you were right. Ronnie Volks. Of course, Ronnie was all events, but in 3 games, you can, a lot can happen in 3 games that it's harder to have happen over 2 patterns in 9 games.
Well, we have not seen an 800 series so
Isn't
far
that
this
amazing?
year. With as high as the scores have been, team-wise.
That blows me away.
A lot of consistent teams. A lot of guys 7-0, 690, 680. But yeah, no 800 so far halfway through the Open Championships this year.
I think the 794 by Vern Heidenreiter is still high at this point. Vern was a 4-pin away from cracking that 800 mark.
I'm sure there'll be one. There might not be one in minor events. Elaine's, what we saw practicing, boy, they transition fast and continuously. And that definitely, all it takes is one shot to jump up there, turn 820 into 780. Or 80 into 760 or whatever you want to say.
I believe that's what happened with Zerbinski in singles as well.
He had a big open in the 3rd game, didn't he?
Greek Church, I believe, Matt?
Yes, it was front 5 or 6, and something actually distracted him, and he should have stopped, and he didn't, and you can see it in the video. You can actually hear it in the video, and ended up with a Greek Church, but finished strong for 241 and grabbed the singles lead. So could have been a lot more, but certainly he's glad being at home as the leader. Still holding up, a few days later, but he also knows a long way to go, and they found some team success last year, finished in the top 5, and again, a solid performance in team event. But it's going to be a long wait for him and for Gaines and crew for July 7th to come along.
Oh. Been there, done that. I've been through the weights before there was an internet, too. And you just kind of, if you didn't make phone calls, you just had to kind of wait for the weekly press release or however, the Bowler's Journal or something to come out. It was...
Well, now all the news, all the scores up to date on bowl.com. Go to the Open Championships page. You can find story recaps, pictures, leaderboards, videos, you name it, it's all there. Or you can find us on Facebook.
I get up at 3:45 every morning. I get to work. My actual work day starts at 5, but I usually get to work between 4:30 and 4:45, so I can do a little personal stuff first. And the first place I go every morning, once I get my computer fired up, before I even do email or Facebook or anything, is I go to the leaderboards just to see what happened, if anything super noteworthy from the night before. Of course, I look at my phone when I get up at 3:45 if I see any tweets from you or Lucas or USBC's Twitter account or something like that that says somebody, took the lead in any event first, and then I would obviously know what to look for when I got to work. But
there's certainly been a lot of long nights here bringing the news to you. As it happens, now that's the technology age, that's how it works. So even when I'm not here and Aaron is running the show, he keeps me up to date at home. And there's been many a 3 a.m.s up there proofreading a story or getting it set up on bowl.com so that you don't scoop us.
Well, I'm sure that you've been working many a night where I'm already at work with the time change.
Absolutely. That's I'm usually the guy here at night, so yeah, about that time you're waking up and getting ready for work is about 10:30 is usually closing up right about then. So
yep, I am right now. Let's see, 10 to 1. That's 10 to 3. Oh no, I'm 1 hour from a 24-hour day right now, which is okay. I got the adrenaline going here. I'm a bowling junkie and a bowling nerd, and watching quality bowling like this.
All right. Well, now that you said that, when we're done here, go ahead and pack up the gear. The case is right here. Just get that over to the convention center. We'll see you about 10:45.
How are you guys gonna? Do you guys have like a crew that does that for you? You got to do it yourselves.
We are the crew, sir.
Holy.
This is it. It's a
holy
two-man show.
bad naughty word there, because that means that you're basically not sleeping tonight hardly, especially if Matt shoots 800 here tonight. Or
either way, we're talking to Matt, and we'll get that story up on bowl.com. We talked to Terrell Owens earlier. So while we're working on that, we had some classified team leaders earlier today.
Oh, cool.
So more than likely, while we're packing up the gear, I'm packing up. Aaron will go work on those doors a little bit. Hopefully get out of here in time to at least go home and change before we head over to the Reno Sparks Convention Center. That's what it's all about. As Aaron said earlier, we can sleep in, well, not this year, July, but this year it'll be September because we get done here. We get the U.S. Open.
That's right.
In Columbus, and then we head from there to Vegas for the Senior World Championships, then the Combined World Championships, and then the Queens Labor Day weekend, and then it's all over.
Man alive. Just make sure you get those checks out within 30 days. Because I know people will be bugging me about that.
It's always a great part of the year.
You guys got a couple of days here. I mean, when I'm done here tonight, trust me, I'm going back and crashing because I got a lot of schmoozing to do tomorrow. Well, that means, wait a minute. Now, if Leanne and Kim are bowling tomorrow at 11, then there'll be more food at the luncheon for me, won't there? All right, good. I won't see them till the induction dinner tomorrow night. Oh, I can't wait for that. Got some buddies going in there. Jason Couch, one of the funniest guys I know. I can't wait to hear his speech. And then I'm really curious to hear what Rick Steelsmith has to say because he never has anything to say. He's the quietest. Have had him one-on-one or in groups out at the dinner when I was on tour. And, I don't think I've ever had a chance to have an in-depth conversation with him where he really opened up. And his career's so interesting. There we go. I really am. I'm really, really interested as a bowler and a journalist to hear what Rick has to say tomorrow night. It's great to see him going in, and I know that Jason's going to entertain us. And I want to hear who is representing Frank Santori, and what they have to say is another one that I find really, really, really interesting. When I heard his story, it was like, wow. Some guy won 3 individual titles in the 50s and didn't get in the Hall of Fame. But, of course, he had the 20-year rule, and health or whatever it was, he didn't make 20 years, and so he never got in. And these guys got it opened up good now. And you can see they're doing a little bit going around it.
Still fairly straight angles.
Yep.
Not boomeranging it as you were alluding to earlier.
Yeah, I got to say, and one guy locally in Madison who did pretty good this year at the tournament here is Chris Pounders, who I bowl some doubles with. Chris is not at the level of, these guys or our team or that. Chris is a good bowler, though. He can strike a lot. He has unbelievable hand, and he had 7 1/4 in team and bowled pretty good in minors. And some of the other guys there, Brent Ritchie and Heath Hogg, they bowled good too. And they were the first guys here early that told us. They said we played out to start, and we quickly got our feet left, but kept our eyes to the right and went around it and had a great shot in minors. So, I mean, right away I knew when they'd shot that and said that. I sent emailed Richter right away and Shady. I said, okay, here's what we're hearing. This is what this pattern looks like.
And that group took over the team lead for a few hours, I believe. And, I think that was the week where we had about 4 or 5 regular team leads.
Yeah,
some of the stories didn't even make it up on the website.
I know.
By the time the next squad was done.
Every morning I was getting up going, oh, again? They got a lot of strikes on the board here. People might not be familiar with Chuck Vashaw. Maybe Charles, is that what it is up there? I can't see. Yeah, it's Charles up there. Winning the doubles. He just went along for the ride with Matt. Charles was a heck of a bowler. He's a senior like me, but he's got PBA regional titles in the Midwest, and believe me, that the man can play. There we go. Look at that. He can. I'm telling you, he thought about what was happening. Probably, I bet you, before I thought about it during doubles when I saw the reaction developing. And I'm telling you, he feels this right now, and he's thinking, I'm taking the lead. I know that's what he's thinking.
And we've certainly seen a demeanor change, something the cameras probably can't catch. When we started off today, he was pretty easygoing, a lot of joking, a lot of laughing. We were keeping a good shot tally for a while. And it's certainly changed. He's still rooting on the guys here, but it's you could feel the change in the atmosphere here, that it's time to get down to business.
How many people we still got watching?
343 at this very moment.
Wow, that's 343 diehards.
And we do appreciate it.
Yeah,
So,
well, this is good action.
and for anybody just waking up on the East Coast,
Yeah.
this is Matt Cannizzaro, Jeff Riggles, and Aaron Smith live at the National Bowling Stadium 2013 USBC Open Championships. Matt McNiel trying to make a run here in singles. Todd Savoy not far behind. So we will see things developing nicely. This is game 5 of 6 of the second half of our live stream doubleheader. So if you missed any of the action earlier, certainly go to youtube.com/BowlTV. Check it out. Terrell Owens, former NFL star, made his debut here in the team event earlier.
How was that?
It was pretty entertaining. I think people got to see that he's not really. It wasn't really a PR stunt of any kind. He's a true bowler now.
Yes.
Went enthusiast turned bowler. He's practiced and been coached by Norm Duke, and he had an arsenal. He went out there. The first couple frames, some jitters, open, and 4-bagger, and pretty good shots. So he's the real deal. And now that football's potentially over for him, he's spending a lot more time around the bowling center and bowling in the PBA. Of course, the celebrity owner in the PBA League. We'll see him develop a little bit more, and he certainly got the game, and he shot 475. So
Yeah.
not a bad start at all.
I'm telling you, if you saw what I wrote about that and what I posted on Facebook, I just don't get. There's so many bowlers that just can't deal with anything about bowling that's just a little bit of fun. They're good bowlers, and they want everything to be totally serious. They didn't like the Geico team shootouts in the summer. They don't like Terrell bowling and being webcast. It's like, it's okay to have fun and have the Chris Paul Celebrity Invitational and to have a few things. All sports do that. All sports have their fun things. Why can't bowling have that? Terrell, I know from talking to people, he's sincere in his interest in bowling, and he throws the ball better than 99. His release is better than mine. I wish I could release it like that. Now, obviously, he has a lot to learn about how to bowl. Bam, for Matt there. But I just don't get it. I was on a plane. I couldn't watch any of it, but I was pulling for him to shoot, the best score he could. And geez, people, I just don't get it. No one's hurt by him coming out here. And if it draws a little interest to bowling, maybe ESPN picks up a shot from your webcast somehow because some publicist finds out about it. It's who hurts, and trust me, I'm not a TO fan when it was football. I'm a Packer fan, being from Wisconsin. He's done enough damage to the Packers over the years that I obviously wasn't his fan as a football player. But the guy likes bowling. He's there like Chris Paul. I've become a Clippers fan because of Chris Paul. I just don't get the hating on that. It's not costing anybody money. It's a fun thing, and more power to him if he wants to come out and enjoy bowling and support it and be serious about it. God, I just don't get it.
You talked about the Chris Paul celebrity tournament, and I think that might have been one of the most entertaining matches on TV all year. The doubles at the end between.
Oh yeah, that was a great match.
With Kevin Hart and Bill O'Neill and Chris Barnes and Billy Hardwick's kid.
And that doesn't do anything to hurt serious bowling. That doesn't hurt the PBA. It doesn't hurt the Open Championships when Terrell bowls here. It doesn't hurt anything. And if it draws a little interest because the big celebrities are involved, that's only to the good for everybody. It's not hurting anything. I just don't get. I've been aggravated about that for a couple days now, watching some of the posts people had.
Well, I think anytime we get the opportunity to invite somebody in from another sport to come and enjoy what we do. Bowling, of course, is a lifetime sport, and
yes,
we have something for all ages and skill levels. And the fact that here's a professional football player at the top of his game, an elite athlete, wanted to make the crossover. Bowling is a sport, and for them to want to come and be a part of it, certainly they're absolutely welcome.
And how does it do for bowling when a guy that's basically a Hall of Fame level football player. He shot 475. That tells you that bowling's not just, well, I can do what those guys do on Saturday on TV or Sunday on TV or Tuesday on TV or whatever it is. No, you're learning that, you know, it's not just about being a great athlete and anybody can do it. It's a lifetime sport, and it's an easy sport to be good at and a really hard sport to be great at.
And you mentioned that Terrell's worked with Norm Duke. He's also been working with Mark Baker as well. And I mean, I can even think to another strike there by Matt, to a few years ago, some of the first ESPN telecasts with the celebrities and seeing Terrell bowl. And it was a little herky-jerky. And if you would have seen him today, Jeff, there's absolutely no effort in his arm swing.
Yeah. Well,
and for being as strong and built as he is, that to not want to help it by any means and just let gravity do work, it was his game is pretty good.
Well, and that's the first thing I said when I saw Terrell bowl in the celebrity. That was the first time I'd seen him bowl. I was like, whoa, I'll take him over Chris Paul and Jerome Bettis and whatever celebrity pro athlete bowler you want. Nothing against Chris, but I'm sorry, if you watch Chris bowl, there's a max limit no matter how much Chris put into bowling where he's going to get to. His game just isn't top-level game. Terrell's release and arm swing fluidity, if that's a word, are the kind that you see on the PBA Tour. Now, he's not anywhere near close to being a repeater of those kind of shots to be anywhere near the level of PBA guys, but he has the basic fundamentals that if he applied himself, he has the natural game where you look at him bowl and you go, you know, hey, spend 2 years busting your butt, bowling regionals, doing everything you can, practicing, you know, hours a day. That you've got a natural game that could get you there. He throws the ball fantastic.
Well, speaking of fantastic, how about the strings of strikes on this pair? We talked about how they were going to open up for singles, and between Voigtlander and McNiel, Savoy still on track here. A lot of strikes being thrown here on lanes 15 and 16. And we could see some definite movement in the top 10 in singles.
Sure.
And we saw that again with Zerbinski's group. Those guys struggled in doubles, and both Buss and Zerbinski had a shot at the singles lead going into the final few frames even. And we're seeing that here again.
Oh, tough for Luke there. And it's interesting to me that the guys on the right side on this pair, for the most part, have not gone to the big swing around the pattern shot. They have ball down and stayed fairly straight with their angles. So that's telling me that there's something there different than from what we've seen. At least, obviously, they throw it relatively straight and they have a lot of ball speed. So, I mean, not everyone can do that, but that tells you there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Well, and part of the design of these patterns is that they can be attacked from different angles and by bowlers of different calibers, and there's something for everybody. So it's not just one way. It's like maybe some of the animal patterns in the PBA, you know, where they're designed to be played a certain way. But this one, you know, especially that's part of the thrill of the Open Championships and the strategy is that you can't get there different ways.
That was a little left. Wow. See, between him and Chuck, they have got the left side just blended out. I don't see any wet dry. I don't see any, you know, they're not pulling it and it's backing up. They're not swinging it and it's overhooking, but it's not also hanging. I feel like I kind of called this going because I could just see this developing, and he's thrown, you know, Matt's thrown, I can't remember the last shot Matt threw that wasn't out of that was out of the pocket. And I know that he doesn't have one in singles. I think he has 3 7-pins, doesn't he?
They're all 7 pins, yep.
Yeah. And the last couple games of doubles, I mean, the worst he had was maybe a 6-pin and a light crumbler.
Yeah, I believe in that 257 effort to finish up doubles, he left 2 6-pins, and then on his fill ball, he switched to something else that ran through the face. Yeah. And he went back to this AMF King Cobra.
Is that what that is?
That's what it is.
Okay.
That was the report from the very first ball, and
900 Globals going a little bit retro, bringing back the Cobra series.
That's cool. I like that. I was not aware of that.
So what's old is new again.
Yep.
It seems to be the way to go.
I throw a lot of multi-year-old bowling balls myself, Storm stuff that I throw. When I find one that I like, I keep them for years.
Well, we've seen a lot of retro balls in recent years. Of course, the Blue Hammer not too long ago, and Columbia has one as well. Their urethane model. So I now.
Brian O'Keefe was saying he was on above180.com. He said, I didn't know this. He used a urethane ball his first game of doubles.
Yeah, he's all about the pink stingray from Columbia.
That's actually a very sensible thing to do. If you're a higher rev player and you want to get outside around 5 board and control your break point and control your angles and be able to play with your straighter guys, I don't think that that's a bad thing to do at all. It's better than playing 15, chopping up the pattern with a resin ball. Trust me, if somebody did that in my group, they wouldn't be in my group next year. If it was me, my guys would get rid of me.
Hope all you guys heard that back in Wisconsin.
Trust me, it won't. We may not bowl good, but we'll bowl together.
That's certainly the reason why you guys are a threat to race up the leaderboard every year, and
man,
seen that a little bit here too in minors.
Yeah, well, it's, a lot of people don't like it, but it's the nature of bowling today, and as bowlers, you got to find the way to gives you the best chance to win, and that's what it is. Let's see here, 58, 90. Boy, he wouldn't need much if he can get off the sheet here.
.241 would tie it.
Boy, and I'm telling you, he knows it too, and there are not a lot of doubt in any of those. I mean, you're looking at, it's either going to be a ring 7, a solid 8, or a solid 9 or something. But his ball's making such a smooth move into the pocket as Sam leaves the solid 8. I was just going to say, about the only thing I could think he might leave is a solid 9, because his ball's not going at enough of an angle really to leave a solid 8, which would be a right-hander solid 9.
And so far he's had a few light mixers, but most everything has just been, Ty gets a nice break there. Everything's pretty much been in the all over the 1-2.
This isn't really helping my own personal game plan. It's only a couple of days away, but now I really have no idea what's going on.
Well, it looks to me that on the left side, and I didn't see team event, so I can't really say anything there, but it looks to me like keeping your angle straight through the front is really important on the left side. And yet, I know that there's a guy from Wisconsin, Mike Thill, who had 299, and the explanation he put on Facebook was that he got in where he said he was crossing almost a 20 at the arrows and going around the lanes.
He was. It was that was on the late squad as well. I was here for that.
Wow.
But yeah, he was. I was pretty surprised myself to see him that far right, and but his ball reaction was pretty phenomenal. Last shot wasn't to his liking. He tugged it a bit and crossed over, but yeah, to see a lefty have that kind of reaction, that was. So I think I texted Matt right after that. It's like, something to consider next time over at the Bowler's Journal, or before you hit the lanes.
Boom. Yeah, that surprises me when he said that. And you know what? He's a underrated bowler up in Wisconsin. I nicknamed him Token because when he used to be a PBA member, I can't remember how many regionals where he was the only lefty that made the finals, made match play. And I said, there you are, you're the token lefty again this week, and it kind of stuck, and he became the token. He's a pretty good player. He's a little bit of a cheesehead goof, likes to party, and he's just a good, fun-loving guy. I love him, but don't underestimate him as a bowler. I mean, he proved that. I would like to have seen that. Boy, I just can't imagine playing that shot on the left side. Wow.
Right now we're watching the 10th frame of game number 2 of singles here for the Linz Lakers number 1 team. A lot of strikes up there this game.
Yep. Let's see. Todd Savoy, it's at about 470, 469.
looks about right. Bolander's going to be in the 450s. Folklander, excuse me.
Sam had a tough game there, though.
Sam and John both a little under par there. I know John missed a 9-pin there in the 6th frame. I think he had back-to-back 9-pins on lane 16. So
sometimes it's hard when you're in the minor events and you got guys bowling really good with your group. You're kind of, in a sense, you can get into that mode where you're trying to get out of their way and not focus on your own game. And sometimes that can be kind of tricky. I know one year McDowell and Shady were having a huge double set, and they had well over 1,400. And Richter and I were struggling, and they were playing out. That might have been 2006, and they were playing out around 5 and throwing it hard and straight. And we were out there the first game, and Steve and I had nothing. And I remember saying to him, I said, Steve, let's get away from them. We're just doing nothing but ruining their shot. I said, let's get into 15 or 20 and see if we can find something inside and just leave this for them. And we did that. And, you know, it was a little bit of a team sacrifice. And we had a decent shot, as good inside as it was outside because we were bowling good. But we kind of preserved it for them. And for these guys, I think it's more a mental thing. You're just kind of watching Matt in awe. Oh, that was nice. Wow. He just gets out of the ball so clean. You hardly ever see him grab a shot. I would love to see the Cats, if you could do a Cats analysis of his set here and do his launch angle, his launch spot, his launch speed, because you just see his swing is so smooth, clean, and he never grabs it.
And if anyone wants a chance to see their game on the Cats, Mike Jasnow over at lane 81 here on the 4th floor offers that service. So we got 2 fine coaches here on the premise at all times. So
can't go wrong. Funny thing there was Zerbinski was the 2nd person ever to throw 10 strikes in the 10 cat shots that Jasnow did. I thought that was a funny anecdote. That's pretty good. Might not get there. Nope, not quite. A little quick, I think. But that's a good place for that. 78. Well, 77 it's going to be. He's not going to make this.
Well, Matt trying to keep his streak alive. Manny _ falls a little bit short there. It will be in the 270s after 258 start. So he is well on his way.
Wow.
So 1 pin here will put him at 535.
Yep.
535. 789, the number he is trying to beat.
Well, I could see Matt shooting 300 here easily, but I could see him shooting 2-0 or something if he had some bad carry. But the one thing I couldn't see is his ball missing the pocket. Maybe, you know, I mean, he's been down this road before. He's probably not going to choke any off, depending how the transition is with him and Chuck on the left side. But unless there's something drastic there, I don't see him missing the pocket in this next game, maybe more than once. And it's just going to come down to how many hits does he carry.
Now we have seen, I believe Charles has made a ball change here here in the singles set, but still see Matt using the same ball he's been using since we started here. So
if I was Charles, I would go to Matt between games here and I would say, I can get to the pocket with about anything I throw. What do you want me to throw and where do you want me to play? You know, how do I best stay out of your way and be a teammate? You know, I mean, do you want me to ball down and get a little farther to the left? Do you want me to stay with what I'm just play my game? Or, you know, I honestly don't know. I would probably say that as long as Charles isn't using a really high surface ball, he's fine just staying in the right spot, and him and Matt just stay right on top of each other. And it doesn't look like to me that that's a heavy surface ball Chuck's throwing. But if I was Chuck and Matt told me to, you know, can you use a shinier ball and stay right there? Looks like there's plenty of hook out there. I'd do it. Trying to help my teammate win an eagle, another eagle. And Chuck kind of owes him one. He kind of won him one last year, didn't he?
It always helps when your partner shoots 847. So.
Yeah, Jesus.
All right, game 3 kicking off. Matt McNiel on lane 15 here at the National Bowling Stadium.
All right, you are watching it live. 2013 USBC Open Championships defending regular all events champ Matt McNiel is making a run in singles here. 258, 277 for a 535 total. He needs 255 here in game 3 to top singles leader John Zerbinski, who shot 789 not too long ago. So if you're anywhere near Zerbinski or you got his number, send him a text. Tell him to get on bowl.com right now. Tell all your friends as well. We could be watching Matt McNiel make a run here at his 4th eagle since 2010. Still a long way to go, but he started this game with a strike. Again, 255 the number. He will not repeat in all events or doubles, but why not something different this time? Let's go for a singles title.
It's all about being versatile.
Well, if he's going to hit for the cycle in his career, as I call it, he's got to get this one. You know, this is the one I don't have, and I'm sure I'm not going to have. I guess he needs this one, and he needs team. And sure wouldn't shock me if he gets this one. I'm sure with the guys he bowls with, or whoever he might hook up with in the future, he's going to have plenty of shots at team. This is the one that's tough to get because there's so many more people that can win the 3-game one.
And one of their Linz Lakers teammates, Gary Green, who I believe was part of that 2002-2006 Team All Events group. He's got 489 after 2, so.
Shoot them all, 300.
That would tie Zerbinski's number. There's a break for John.
So we're still 350 strong. Watching Matt McNiel make a run here. Wake up, everybody. Here we go.
And I have a text from Mike Flanagan here from about a half hour ago. What the are you doing up? Get online, Mike. Don't you know what's happening right now? So I just sent him a text back. Oh, that was left or right. Oh, my God. Oh, wow.
Well, you said you need to get lucky here.
If John Zerbinski is watching, he just puked.
You got to have some shots like that. We've seen a few along the way, but holy cow, for a big double there to keep the dream alive.
That was definitely right off his hand. And
oh, well, you know what? If he when he let that ball go, he was just praying that it was a spare he could make. He didn't even have the thought of it being a strike. To get that, woof, boy, if that can't loosen your swing for good.
I was going to say that's a prime opportunity to capitalize on. Instead of looking at strike spare, a double all of a sudden, and or it could have been even worse. As you said, was lucky just to have the 4-7 up there at first. So,
well, he needs just 255. We say just. That's it's only 5 pins above his average for the last 3 years.
Well, his last 3 games here have been 257, 258, and 277. So,
he's finally hitting his average.
Exactly.
He actually held up a little piece of paper. I don't know if you guys saw that on the webcast. Said when he shot the 1-250 game, I finally hit my average. He showed it to the people above us here in the stands.
Pretty solid sets across the board here for all the Linz Lakers.
I got some funny texts here. Fortunately, some of them are not shareable on, even on the internet. and it's complimentary, but it's mostly like, oh my God, what am I doing up watching this? It's unbelievable.
It certainly is. And now Jeff, as a guy who's been in this position for that Matt's in exactly, I believe one of your all events titles, you had to go about 5:30 or so to your last 2 to get there. What's just going through his head right now? What do you think he's?
Well, I mean, the old cliche, but you just got to do it one shot at a time. You just can't start looking at the score. I mean, I knew what I needed, but I didn't think about adding the pins up. I just said, basically, I said, oh my God, I need 540 or whatever it was. And I just said, I just have to throw a great shot every frame. And so you just get down, you're like, I have a great ball reaction. There's no reason that I can't strike on every single shot I throw because I've got a great ball reaction. If I throw it good, it's going to go in the pocket. Why can't I shoot a strike every ball? That's the kind of mindset you have to have. And that's when I talk about people fearing shooting big scores. A lot of people can't think that way. But if you're going to shoot a score to win singles or something, you have to think that way because you basically have to strike almost every shot. So he just has to think that way. And I don't really know what happened on the last shot. It might have been the, just a miss. I mean, he's human. He misses. But the thing is how does he react to that? Does he understand that he just made a bad shot? Does he try and make a move that might cost him? Or does he just get back up and just start repeating shots and basically erase that last one?
Well, and for McNiel, the last 3 years, prior to this, singles has been a pretty big deal. He's got to step up and throw the shots. He's felt the pressure before. In 2010, he didn't exactly know what was going on. He knew he was making a run at the all events, so he didn't know it was the record. But certainly, it came down to the last game in 2011 for back-to-back titles and came up short.
That's good. Got it out.
Great
I think
shot
he thought that was wide. But to me, that looked good because he was smooth through it, and I felt like it was going to recover as soon as he let it good. Unlike that one that he left that 7-9 light in the 11th, that one I thought he was quick on. This one he was slow enough on. I had no doubt it was going to recover in my mind. I'm real curious to see what he does over here, and I'd like to know in his head if he's thinking he's going to move or. I mean, to me, that shot on 16 was just a bad shot. But yet, none of his right-handers on his pair are left of 15, so if he wants to scoot right, he's going to catch more oil, I'm sure, so he probably can do it. But then he probably runs the risk of maybe he scoots it out for what is it when you're a lefty, a 3-7?
B210 equivalent.
Well, pretty much every shot he's thrown in singles in the last few years has been a presser shot, need to have it kind of shot, so he's familiar with this situation. 789 is the number he's chasing right now. Needs 255, and starts with the first three here in game number 3. McNiel already the only bowler in history with 3 800 series at the Open Championships, and number 4 within reach here.
That's unbelievable to think about.
And 4 years in a row.
This only his 7th USBC Open Championships tournament, so. For many, a day like that is a lifetime experience, and Matt makes it a yearly habit, so.
I remember when I was a young guy in this tournament, and Fran Bax shot the 833, I believe it was, opening night in Niagara Falls in 1983, throwing the yellow dot up the gutter, and that was like, I mean, that was so inconceivable to shoot that score at the ABC tournament. It was just like, whoa. I mean, people just couldn't even believe it because it was such a score out of sight. And I mean, Matt's working on his 4th 800. Jeez.
I think Fran's 833 stood until Sosha beat him.
Yep, I believe so.
847.
That was in 97 in singles.
Here he is.
Yeah, this was a
McNiel.
big shot. I wonder, it doesn't look to me like he moved. Maybe a little bit. Oh. Well, definitely the shot was to the right, so I don't know if he did move and it didn't skid more or he pulled it again or what. But that's a killer there. He will have to basically sheet after this.
Well, this is not unlike 2009. Bo Gergen, 299, 299. Starts game 3 with a double or a strike before leaving the big 4, and then finished it out for 862 just to sneak past Ron Vokes 857. But now McNiel, 262.
Yeah, he needs them all because Like if he goes spare sheet for 52, that's only 787. So he needs them all, and then, you know, whatever, small fill ball.
So 800 not going to happen, but singles lead still a possibility. So we'll see. It's that right lane. Maybe it wasn't such a bad shot, 2 shots to go, just a lucky break, but the big four paid the price there in the 4th frame.
Well, he's got a big decision to make. I mean, let's give him a strike on 15 if it happens. What does he do when he comes up on 16? Does he make a ball change? Does he make a big 3-2 or 3-1 and try and go around it more? Does he go back to the right a little bit and throw it harder? I mean, he's got a lot going through his mind, and hopefully the things he's thinking about on 16 are not going to affect his shot on 15, because it looks like his shot hasn't changed on 15. I get into that mode a lot. I'll like leave a 10 pin or something, and I have missed many a single pin spare in my day because I can't turn my brain off to be thinking about what adjustment I'm going to make to try and strike on the next ball. That's a very difficult thing to do.
We also saw him and Charles, once again off the camera, kind of talking about what was going on there. So,
well, Charles can help him. At least he's got another lefty here that can say, well, here's what I'm seeing on 16. If he makes the right decision and gets a strike, then he could be on the races to, you know, just try and hit the pocket the rest of the shots and hope to carry them all and take it. But, you know, if he doesn't get this one here, then Zerbinski can go back to bed if he's awake. That's pretty good. Oh, pretty good, but solid 8, and John Zerbinski is going to hold the singles lead.
yeah, next door, Gary Green started with a spare, so 290 is his max, 779. Bugsy Kelly and his group on 27 and 8. Nothing too crazy over there. Richard Hansen, 257, 223. He's got a early open. So John can sleep easy for the rest of the night.
But, I mean, you have to give Matt a heck of a lot of credit. What a run. I mean, it's just, to me, it's inconceivable to come out here every single year. You're either winning or coming very close to winning. It does boggle my mind. I mean, there's no one-hit wonder in him at all. Just every single year.
We'll see how these last few frames go. He could move into second, I believe. Kelly Bonta's 776 is currently second. So that could be another top 5, depending on how it goes.
And I got a little note here. Next Sunday night at 8, along with Matt McNiel, I'm going to be on the Sports Schmucks with Dave Waswo and the crew. That's the Kansas City. It's actually a real radio show, but also on the internet at www.jpeg247.com. They talk a lot about you guys and the Open Championships. They have Matt on every week, and Matt actually kind of pulled my skin out of the fire a couple weeks ago. I was supposed to be on, and my phone died.
Uh-oh.
And I wasn't where I could charge it, and by the time I got around to getting to where I could charge it, I'd missed my spot. So we rescheduled for this Sunday night coming up, but it's going to work out better because I'll get a chance to talk about the Hall of Fame stuff this week and Matt's performance here or everything else that goes on. So it'll turn out good. But I'm going to be on Sunday night, and Matt will be again, as he is every week. And also Dustin Markowitz, Eric Forkel. I'm going to be on one of these days here with those guys on their great show.
Got to see Eric Forkel yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he's here, isn't he?
We took a little trip yesterday.
Oh.
To another city.
Oh, yeah.
To another city in Nevada.
And we haven't mentioned that once tonight.
We haven't. We talked about it earlier on our previous broadcast with Terrell Owens, but let's talk about that for a minute. I took a trip yesterday. I was with Stu Upson, the executive director of USBC. Met up with Brian Lewis and Jason Overstreet, and some very important folks in Las Vegas to announce a pretty significant deal. An agreement that will bring the Open and Women's Championships, as well as many, many other USBC events and tournaments, to the Las Vegas area over the next handful of years. A 12-year deal That will include a $30 million bowling arena as part of the South Point property there at the end of the Las Vegas Strip. Looking forward to that. And that will start for the major events in 2016. The Women's Championships will head that way, and the Open Championships in 2017. So it'll be a little bit of Reno, a little bit of Las Vegas, and some other cities mixed in, Syracuse, Baton Rouge, and on the women's side, Baton Rouge, Mobile, and Wichita. So the schedule pretty well filled out for the next few years for the Open and Women's Championships for sure. So looking forward to that. Riggs, anything you want to add on that?
Just what I've written and what I've said, and repeat it. Congratulations to USBC and everybody involved down in Vegas. A lot of people have been waiting for it to get finalized, and I think it's a great thing. I think it'll help revitalize this tournament, keep it going strong. And some of the ideas I've heard kicked around when talking to Mike Moniak at South Point about double prize lists for years where Vegas and Reno are back-to-back. So you bowl both of them, you get some extra money, or reduced entry fees possibly if you sign up for both years. So Vegas won't detract from Reno. There'll be benefits if you're bowling every single year in this tournament like you should be if you're a bowler. And I just think it's a great thing. I mean, I love Vegas. I'm a gambler and a bowler, and I don't shy about that. And I think South Point's a great facility, and I'm loving it. I mean, it's great that it's happened, and congratulations to everybody that had a hand in making it happen. Looking forward to big things.
To get back to the action, it looked like Matt made a move right on that shot on 16.
Yeah, I think he did, and he let it go left a little bit more than he had on the shot before. It's amazing. He's playing these two lanes. There's a messenger. He's playing these two lanes quite a bit different right now. If you looked at his laydown and his break point, I bet you it's maybe practically five farther in on 16. And I don't think he was. I don't think he was that different through the first couple of games here. So obviously 16 made a little breakdown there. There's a few pairs down on this end from all my years of bowling PBA tournaments here where the difference between the two lanes is really extreme. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 11 and 12. And I don't remember this pair as being drastically different on the right side. And we bowled, if I recall, the year we took the Team All Events lead here, must have been 07. We bowled minors on 15 and 16 and 13 and 14, I think. That was the year the Ken Abner and Fairs group beat us from Cincinnati. And these two pairs were really nice for us. We had a good cross in front of us that year, which was the key then. So, Matt, who are you bowling with on Sunday?
Well, I managed to put together a pretty good team to carry me to glory. We'll start from the top. We'll have Andy Wheeler from the Brunswick booth here. It's a pretty solid Michigan bowler. And then we picked up Brian Komornick, who used to bowl with
oh, yeah, I know that name.
Ed Gallagher from Chicago area. He's going to be in there for this year. Then Jeff Jensen on the lifetime average list from Wichita.
Yep.
And Kent Wagner, another familiar name.
Oh, yeah.
So looking forward to that. Again, I'll be the lone lefty on a pair of 9 righties. So we'll see how that goes. But
did my boys, my 10 lefty group, bowl tonight?
With everything going on today, they were supposed to bowl at 3 o'clock today, and we actually didn't even get a chance to check that out with all the happenings and getting ready for the live stream. And I certainly wanted to. Curious how that would work out, considering that they would probably encounter some things that we're not used to seeing as far as transition and moves. And perhaps we'll talk with them tomorrow if we're around to see how that turned out.
I know a couple of those guys pretty well. And actually, J.C. Kramer, who's one of those 10, he called me a couple days ago and wanted to have a beer and chat out here. And I said, absolutely. You got to hunt me down when I'm not doing something. And I'd love to hear how it went for them. And because as far as I know, I don't know of any other group of lefties that has tried to do that.
I certainly haven't seen it. I've heard some talk of it in the past and doing it. Again, had it been a quieter day here for sure, it would have been something nice to see, maybe even learn from a little bit. But I know that group somehow affiliated with John Cryer and Steve Bone, and I know we'll talk to those guys tomorrow. So we'll get the rundown, but right now the lefty of the hour, Matt McNiel, making his run in singles here is going to be short as far as taking the lead, but certainly an admirable performance in his title defense here in 2013, and still going. 252 still out there, so he'll be just a few pins short.
The 787.
2 pins short. But I really don't think I don't know. I can't conceive that there isn't going to be an 800. Maybe I'm totally overestimating how this pattern will play, but I'm just shocked that there hasn't been one. When you get 6 good bowlers on the same pair and they get to break it down the way they want and don't have to move, I guess that's a testament to how difficult this pattern is, that there hasn't been one with that setup.
Yeah, I was thinking Mark Buffa was going to make a pretty solid run at it not too long ago, a few days, week. I don't know, all the days run together here. But after a 259-300, he started with the front 3, and we've seen some close calls, but that was the one I was banking on for the first 800, and he ran into kind of a similar situation like Matt here and John Strabinsky ran into a split in the middle of the game, and that ended up being his undoing, put him in a tough position to get there, and still ended up 784. But to think we're halfway through the tournament and some of the scores we've seen to not have an 800, I couldn't agree with you more. I was very surprised.
Team event, I'm just stunned that no one shot. With all the gigantic scores, there hasn't been 800 in team event.
Well, if I had to pick 3 guys yet to come who I think can make a run at it this year, I'm going to pick. Let's go with Kent Wagner. That'd be great if he did it in team event, by the way.
Yeah.
Kent Wagner, Mike Shady, and Josh Blanchard, I think, would be 3 who I think could get it done.
Well, I wrote a long time ago before Zerbinski bowled that I thought Shady, this might be his year just based on the patterns and the fact that we get to all work together in minors, all 6 of us, that he might be his year for 2190. And so one of these years, and Mike's come close a couple of times, and I mean, like I said, he's never been under 1900. Once he gets to 20 years, he's going to have a lead in the average list that's going to be pretty dramatic when he appears on there in 3 more years. And it's just a matter of the right year and getting the breaks to the difference between finishing in the top 10 and winning. And I kind of thought this might be the year. That's a pretty big score that John put up there, but boy, if there's a guy that could do it, it'd be Shady.
Well, and I also think, just looking at history, it's not going to be a little 800 either. I think it's going to be just a monster score, like, maybe not 858 like Janowitz in 2004, where he was the only 800 of the event. But I think it's going to be a big number and a big separation between first and second, at least in the single side of it. But again, every day I come to work wondering when we're going to meet the next Ron Vokes, or when the next guy is going to win his 6th eagle. You just don't know. That's what keeps it exciting.
Well, it would really be something to get a singles one. There's a good shot. Bam. Now you can't throw it better. But I might be a little old for about 820 out here. My ball doesn't strike quite as much as it used to. I had a couple chances at it, didn't quite get her done.
What's the new term you've been throwing around? Raisin?
Raisin. Well, that goes back to when I was on tour originally. Kevin McGear was the first person I heard use that, and he used to call the PBA Senior Tour the Raisin Tour. So if we used that term back then, I'm sure going to use it on myself now that I am one.
I was going to say, we'll be live streaming some quality group of PBA 50 players, and
our buddy Stuart Williams checking in the chat room as well. He putting his name in the ring for the 800, possibly Don Barrett as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We'll see if we'll send that crystal pin overseas.
What a team they got. Boy, and we get to watch them. They bowl, we bowl Friday the 17th. They bowl on Thursday the 16th, 7 p.m. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. Some good buddies. Jeff Carter, Scott Rains, Mike Peters with Dom, Tom Adcock, champions in 2005 in the team event, several of those guys. And then they got Chris Johnson and Stephanie Nation, some other guys on there, Andy Staub on their cross team. That's a heck of a group. A lot of rev rate there, though. The Shimrek alert is out for those guys. We'll see how that team event pattern works with those guys rather than the straighter guys. But, boy, yeah, Don Barrett, there's a guy to watch out for.
All right, well, we're watching our final frame of singles here. 2013 USBC Open Championships. Matt McNiel gave it a good run here in singles. It's going to come up a little bit short. All events not going to happen. Doubles came up short as well. But these guys are having fun all the way till the end.
They are.
There's Lanto celebrating that fill ball. And when the action is done here, we'll send Aaron Smith down, actually, with the wireless to talk to McNiel and get the rundown for tonight. And then we'll pack up the gear and get ready to head across town to the Women's Championship. So this live stream festival will continue in just a few hours. But we've got one more solid frame coming from Matt McNiel. The next time we see him, Riggs, will be on the collegiate broadcast.
Isn't that something?
He's headed to Wichita State at 27 years old with 3 Eagles. And he'll bowl for the Shockers, and we'll see him on Lucas's collegiate broadcast.
Oh, man, that just cracks me up that he's doing that. But, hey, you know, he's got the eligibility. He's going back to grad school. More power to him. I should do that, huh? I could go back for a grad degree. I never bowled in college, so I guess I'd have
all 4 years.
Yeah, I could be Rodney Dangerfield back to school. That was filmed at UW-Madison.
Really?
Yep.
You learn something new every day.
Yep, Bascom Hill, right there. One of my all-time favorite movies, in part because it was filmed there, but also because Rodney Dangerfield's a funny guy. How about this, though? If Matt goes off here, he's going to be, you know, one bad shot and then a solid 8-pin. Plus, what was it, three 7-pins, basically?
3 7-pins in the...
Shoo. And one huge break, of course, in there, too. Nosedive strike. But what a performance.
But even thinking about that second shot in the 10th last game.
Yes, that's right.
That one got away from a little bit. The ended up being a 7-9.
Yep, light hit. Like I said, I don't know. If Zerbinski wins that, I think he's got a better chance of winning the all events than he does the singles. But, you know, I'll know more after I bowl. But I'm kind of going based on what I've seen on webcasts and what I saw practicing on it myself. And it might not be as easy as it looks or as I saw it practicing. Big shot here for money, though. Oh, that's nice. Boy, he rolled that nice. Man. You know what? I really think that he's going to come up here and he's going to tell you that he made bad shots. I really think that. I don't, because I think he's almost, that shot to me looked like he was almost back pretty close to where he was on 15, and he was just a little smoother. So I'll be curious to hear what he has to say to you guys, but I think he's going to be hard on himself and just tell you he made a couple grabby shots. See where this crosses. I mean, that last one was definitely left of 15, farther out towards 10 or break point outside 10. Wow, that was basically 9 at the arrows out to probably 4, maybe 3.
It got out there, but just enough to get everything to fall. That strike puts him in the 780s for sure.
Well, guys, I know you got to wrap up and everything. Thanks for having me on. I will excuse myself and hang out a bit to give Matt congratulations after everybody else. Thanks for putting up with my yakking.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you here the rest of the week, of course, tomorrow at the Hall of Fame dinner. And right now we'll watch Matt McNiel's final shot of the 2013 Open Championships, and then we'll send Aaron Smith down to talk to him.
Nice bowling. Thanks, guys.
Right,
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, so there it is, 787. That's going to put Matt in second place in regular singles, 2 pins short of another run here at the Open Championships, but a phenomenal effort. 612, 700 in doubles, and 787 in singles. It's a 20.99 all events total, exceeded his own personal expectations, and a fantastic run. So let's take a look up at the scoreboard. There it is. So we'll have Matt McNiel in just 1 second. Aaron Smith on his way down to talk to Matt. All right, Aaron Smith down talking to Matt McNiel. Let's talk about today.
Thanks, Matt. Mr. McNiel, another great run here at the Open Championships. I believe we calculated you at 2099, so one short of 2100. But let's just get right into singles here. You came out 258, 277. What happened in that fourth frame, the big four? Just tell us what was a bad shot. Did you read something wrong?
Well, there's a lady 2 lanes down. She's wearing a bright orange shirt, and she got up, and it just caught my peripheral. So I'm like, all right, take a step back. And then some people were making some noise, and some guys were shushing them, and I just let that get in my head, and I should have just set my ball down, regroup, refocus, go back through the routine. And I was like, nah, just get up and try to roll the ball. And I like pterodactyl arm. I was like doing one of those on it. It was a bad shot. What can you say? I mean, there was I would love to get an 8 spare out of it, but it was just not a good shot at all. And I come back in the 5th frame, make a very good shot, get a bad break, but I got a lot of good breaks this set. So I mean, I'm happy as heck, especially after last night. I'm thrilled. I got to share this with my teammates. We had another good tournament, and it was a blast. I mean, this is fun for me. The nervousness, the increased heart rate, everything that comes along with it, sweaty palms, the whole works. I mean, this is what I live for, and I'm just glad I hopefully I get my picture taken or something like that, because it's not a good tournament if you don't get your picture taken.
Very true, very true. Now, talked to you a little bit after yesterday, 6-12 in team event. You talked about not feeling tournament ready. Just what was the change in that 24-hour time span that had you go 700 and 787?
Well, I told myself, there's so much buildup, and it's like I was getting asked 10, 12 times a day, when do you bowl, when do you bowl, when do you bowl, what are you going to do, what do you think's going to happen? And I couldn't focus. And then on top of that, I hadn't bowled anything really competitive in 3 months. It's the USBC Masters. So I go out there and the lights come on, and I'm just, this or flailing all over the place. And it's just like the 3 games went by like that. And I mean, I made all of 6 good shots, and it was just disappointing because I know I'm a lot better than that. And so I had a little time to reflect on it, came over, bowled the BJ this morning, found a good tempo, and, I said, hey, let's just do everything we can. Let's pound that tempo in, keep that tempo in your head, and just focus on that one spot. Keep your head up, keep your eyes up, keep the positive attitude, keep telling yourself you believe in yourself. And, I got some good breaks, not good breaks, but I had an absolute blast. This was, I didn't shoot 800. I'm not leading anything, but you know what? Coming back after 6-12, I'm so happy. This was so much fun.
Now just talk about, obviously you defended your title in 2011 with a very valiant effort, ended up 3rd. So this was the second time you got to experience, the march down center aisle and just having that weight on your shoulders. How was it different this time around compared to the first time?
Well, I think this time because I'm here every day, and I see everybody, and so they're like, oh, I mean, it's just like I said, it's like this big build-up, and I felt so good after team event was done. I slept really good last night. I felt good today. I just felt like I'd been carrying around a sack of bricks, and it was just gone. And so, I was working with Chuck a little bit at the Bowler's Journal, and we just, we got in a good rhythm, and he was rooting me on the whole way through. And, it was phenomenal. What can I say? I mean, it's always hard to come in and defend, especially when you got two Eagles. But you know what? You just got to put that out of your head as much as you can. It's very hard to not think about that. And, hey, Chuck. Hey, come on over here, pal. What do you think about defending? I'll ask. You want me to ask the question?
By all means.
All right, so Chuck, I'm here with Chuck Vashaw. And now, Chuck, you had to come in, defend the title this year. How'd you feel about that?
Scared to death. Having to bowl with Matt and knowing what he's going to shoot and knowing what I potentially have to shoot, that's tough. The first 5 frames were really rough. I had no rhythm, no timing, no nothing. And I found a little bit after that, but, it is what it is, and I still had fun.
Well, Chuck, as the Dodgers always say, there's always next year. And
That's the Cubs.
Is that the Cubs? Okay, the Cubs. I'm sorry. The Cubs, they say there's always next year. And I just want to say thanks for putting up with me. And
Thanks for putting up with me, this old guy.
Hey, no. And being my partner in crime, man.
Yep.
You're the best. I love you.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, Aaron. What do we got?
All right, Matt, one last thing. We'll finish up here before we talk to you again, do this all over for storyonbowl.com. It'll be up later tonight. Even now, 2 a.m. Reno time, so that's 5 out on the East Coast. We still had more than 300 people tuned in watching you make the run at singles by the end of it. So, and many more earlier in the day, and obviously the archive for this one will probably go through the roof. But anything to say to everyone watching you out there tonight and staying up and watching you make a run?
We broke the lanes down really well on the left side. So if you're taking notes and you're left-handed, do what me and Chuck did. Matt Canizero, I'm pointing at you. No, thanks for supporting everything that you and Matt Canizero do. You guys work really hard, so thank you to everybody watching out there. I know you may hate left-handers, but hopefully I can win my way into your hearts or your acceptance somehow. I'll keep pegging away. But what a blast! What an honor! Thank you so much for putting me on the live stream. I really appreciate it.
It was fun for us too, Matt. Congratulations on another great year, and we'll see you around. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And there you have it, a final look at the scoreboard here, the 2013 USBC Open Championships. Chuck Vashaw and Matt McNiel came in as the regular doubles champions. Shot 12.52, will not win again there. Matt McNiel made a huge run in singles, came up 2 pins short. 7.87, he'll move into second place in regular singles, finishes with a 20.99. All events total also a little bit short, but a fantastic effort again. It's as the defending champion, he understands the pressures of what's going on here, and certainly performed here in doubles and singles. So we do appreciate everybody joining us for our live stream doubleheader today. Hope you enjoyed it. Terrell Owens makes his Open Championships debut earlier tonight at 7 p.m. on the team event. McNiel and Vashaw, double champs, put it on the line here. So 2 great broadcasts. We'll be back with you in just a few hours, actually, headed over to the Women's Championship. So thank you all for joining us tonight. And that's the news for now, folks. We'll see you on the lanes in a few hours.